disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Then let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He's just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well. Welcome everybody to another BD Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad. That's right, sure I'm glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, got a fantastic one for you. Well, could have been a little bit more fantastic how we actually had some fantastic fights last night, but we got a lot to talk about, let me tell you. Teofimo Lopez versus Rolly Romero. That whole thing happened yesterday. We got a lot to talk about in regards to what happened during the fight, afterwards, and what's next for both fighters and the welterweight division. Kind of a mediocre welterweight division right now, but we're going to talk about all of that plus more. Now, before we get down to the fun, you guys know the deal. Let's get the business out of the way, fellas. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so with the Super Chat feature. You can also join our membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. You can also join the Patreon for as much or as little as you like. Depends on you. And you can also donate via the Buy Me a Coffee app, link in the description below. However, you guys, I think most of you already know this, but the most important thing is you continue to like, you subscribe, and you spread that BDA gospel. So shout out to everybody out there. I'm talking about Alejandro Solis, King Bucho keeping an eye on things, Casamigos Kyle, Baron Evola, Big Smokey, Bill the Boxer, Two Matador, SJW, Sean Rain, Jaime Raiden, Cam Boxing, Mr. Pelavacas, Celestial Being. We get some interesting names, let me tell you. I'm always surprised by some of these names. And more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to invite a couple of people over here. Start a bit of a late night barbecue here, a late summer barbecue, that is. I can't believe it's almost the end of the summer. I mean, we got 1 month to go, right? Still one more to go before it officially ends. But man, sure does go by quickly, let me tell you. We're going to talk about the Teofimo Lopez versus Romero fight. Took place yesterday. Romero won by majority decision. As the fight went on, I was unsurprised by the actual scorecards and result. We were talking about it on Discord while we were watching the fight, individually, mind you. We weren't watching it all at the same time because that would be against the law. But I remember telling people, some people felt it was close, a couple of people, and I remember thinking, yep, it's going to be one of those fights with a crazy scorecard. Teofimo Lopez ended up, in my eyes, I thought he did enough to clearly win the fight. Although he did get stunned twice in that fight, ended up getting cut as well. So he looked like he went through it a little bit. It wasn't an easy fight for him, but he came out. Should have been, I think, a unanimous decision. But the uneventful nature of the fight, the lack of activity, the low punch output from both guys, made it so that, yep, indeed, there were going to be some sort of hijinks going on with the scorecards. There's always, and see, this is why it's easy to win a decision. Or maybe not easy, it's simple. It's simple to win the decision. All you got to do is you got to convince two judges. That's it. You don't got to do, you don't have to do. That's why some of these back foot bitches are able to get the win, because it's dependent on what the judges like. And a lot of these judges, I don't know if they're incompetent, corrupt, or they just don't know the rules. I don't know, but they seem to like some of these, I don't know, they seem to favor certain weird things. And before we continue here, I want to let you know the punch stats for this fight, because I'm always on the lookout for these punch stats. I think sometimes they can tell the story about what happened. So just to give you the rundown here, these punch stats apparently had Romero throwing 352 shots, landing 73. Lopez threw 530, landed 124. So almost doubling the connected punches against Romero. Now, he also landed Lopez at his 62 jabs and 62 power punches, so about half and half there if you were to believe the numbers. That's an interesting thing. I read somewhere that Lopez landed his highest punch output with jabs in his career. And interesting, because before the fight, there was a report that Lopez had indicated he would be jabbing more in this one, which makes sense because Romero has that Philly shell style. He's open to jabs. We saw that in the Jackson Marinas fight a couple of years ago. The thing is, Lopez is open to jabs too, or for jabs rather, because he also has that Philly shell, and not for nothing, but we've seen him get jabbed a lot in other fights against Nakatani, against Lomachenko. So it doesn't matter whether it's a southpaw or righty, he gets jabbed a lot. Who was the other guy that was jabbing him a lot? Claggett was jabbing him a lot in that fight. Cambosos too, to a certain degree. I mean, he's just wide open. Eddie Stattel, way back. So he's just not. He doesn't have a great defense against jabs, and so that punch was there for Romero, but Romero is so limited that I'm unsurprised that he couldn't even get that going. He just doesn't have. Romero did as well as he could with what he's got. He's got, like we said on Fight Week, he's got incredible strength, decent power, not that bad a speed. He's not as fast as Lopez, who has flashy speed, whereas Romero has more functional, quick speed. I would label him as quick and not as fast. So he's been able to make it work. But even then, you saw the limitations in this fight, and even in the Ryan Garcia fight. Again, people kept bringing up the Garcia fight, and I know some people get pissed off when they hear commentators say, well, I mean, that was a fight that Ryan Garcia lost more than Romero won. There's a certain degree of truth to that, and you saw Romero's limitations yesterday, but we also saw Lopez's limitations as well. I like the fact that Lopez pressed the issue a little bit more than he does against other fighters, but then again, Romero isn't as efficient on the back foot as, say, Sandro Martin or Shakur Stevenson, or even to a certain degree, a guy like Jermaine Ortiz. So, and by the way, one of the commentators, one last note, because I see we got Bucho here and Frank Bay. Glad you guys could jump on board. One last note, and then I'll let you guys talk, but one of the commentators said, well, this is the type of fight that they have to fight, meaning Romero has to make Lopez come to him, and Lopez has to learn how to come forward a little bit more against that type of style. And then he goes, not the slugfest that most expected. I'm thinking, what? I think most hardcore boxing fans knew not to expect a slugfest in this one. I don't think there were many people expecting a slugfest. And by the way, the scorecards, just to remind people that it was a majority decision that a lot of people felt should have been unanimous for Teofimo Lopez. Scores were 114-114, obviously, and then two cards, one 116-112 and one 115-113. I can certainly understand one judge giving Romero 5 rounds, but I mean, that's about as generous as you can get. The draw is being way too generous, overly generous. And I think Lopez clearly won this fight. But again, he showed his limitations. And now I understand why Ring Magazine dropped him from the rankings, from the top 10 pound-for-pound rankings, after Lopez struggled against Jermaine Ortiz. What I don't understand is why Shakur Stevenson got all that hoopla then thereafter, after beating a guy who wasn't even ranked in the top 10 pound-for-pound rankings. But we're going to get to all of that. Who wants to go next here? Bucho or Frank? Give us your thoughts on yesterday's fight.
Not much. I agree with everything you said. And you predicted that this fight... Well, you said that it was likely that this fight could be boring. I said the same thing, and that's what it turned out to be. Although I thought I was going to be wrong at some point when Roy started to let his hands go and he hurt Teofimo Lopez. I thought, okay, maybe I'm gonna be wrong here, and I hope I'm wrong. But no, it was an uneventful fight. Rolly Romero was taking these huge steps back. You remember, it reminded me of Amir Khan. He used to do that a lot. You know, he would he would eat all the feints and take a huge step back. Like you can take a step back, but not jump all the way back like that. Then you have to reset. And so he didn't look as, you know, a lot of people were saying that Rolly Romero had improved. His skills had improved. We didn't see that today. We saw another clueless fucking Rolly Romero in there that didn't know what to do. But I have a question here for you, BDA, about the scorecards. The Glenn Feldman gave the first 5 rounds to Rolly Romero.
Is that right?
Like
Is
1,
that right?
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
Like,
that's,
what the
I
fuck
don't know.
was this guy watching?
Maybe he liked, because again, see, that's the thing though. We got to go back to one thing here. Lopez was landing, the bulk of his work was being done to the body. He was stabbing the body. He wasn't necessarily landing hooks, which even then, there are certain fighters that they land hooks to the body and they don't get counted. The judges seem to prefer those shots upstairs, which is understandable because a shot upstairs is a little bit harder to land, and on top of that, it's a little flashier, especially if you're snapping your opponent's head back. And that's essentially, I think that was the problem, was that Lopez was landing more, it seemed to me, downstairs, but they weren't exactly the flashiest of shots. Whereas Romero, who seemed to have the crowd on his side, actually, I shouldn't say it seemed, he did have the crowd on his side. They were oohing and eyeing. And first of all, they were cheering for him quite vociferously during the introductions. And then every time he landed a shot, I don't know, maybe it's because whether he hit that shoulder or the arm or whatever, it created an impact. Or maybe, again, that's a factor of the crowd being pro Romero more than anything. But he seemed to get more of a rise out of them. And that can indeed sometimes sway the judges. So that's the way I'm looking at it. And that's why I was thinking, man, I wouldn't be surprised if they give this to Romero. Not that I thought Romero deserved to win the fight, but it was one of those uneventful fights where the judges, I don't know. And a lot of these judges are old too, right? They're very old. They need to give him some admiral.
I can't believe they're still, yeah. How many times do we hear Team Cheatham, apropos name, and then Glenn Feldman all the time? You know what I mean? Like, what didn't Weisfeld score a fight or something in the?
Oh yeah. It was the Hernandez Veron fight. We're gonna talk about that as well.
How long have these people? Just before we move on to Frank, Bray in the chat says Romero is from Vegas, hometown fighter with 3 hometown judges. Same thing happened with Haney versus Lomachenko.
Yeah, I mentioned that during the fight. And by the way, Grim Reaper says, do they not count body shots? It's selectively. Like when it's Haney versus Lomachenko, speaking of that fight, yeah, they'll count Haney's body shots. But when it's, say, Castillo Mayweather 1, no, forget about it. Those body shots, certainly they don't count. But that's the way it goes. Frank, hey, curious to hear your thoughts on yesterday's fight, man.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for inviting me once again. Hopefully it stays that way. But no, I was going to, I was thinking like, I'm going to try a different approach. I listened to some of the past shows and myself, and I'm like, maybe I'm overly negative, but events like this don't help. The event itself was very lackluster. There was a sparse crowd. It kind of takes away from the fight. And the fight itself, it just, aside from the one instance of action in the 5th round, was very lackluster. And I think it's really a talent thing. Rolly Romero just isn't that talented, aside from the power. And Tio, we know that he's been very lackluster. He's had a handful of lackluster fights. He rises to the occasion, but the fight itself, I'm trying to think of a positive thing, but most fans are pretty upset with this event and the fight itself, from what I'm seeing.
As well, they should be. I mean, that was the point of contention for leading up to the fight. This wasn't supposed to be pay-per-view. It didn't warrant a pay-per-view tag. First of all, neither of these guys are any type of stars, as you can see like you said, by the crowd. Obviously, they're not going to give us the numbers anytime soon about how much they generate pay-per-view wise. And then on top of that, they're friends. Although they tried to amp it up a little bit during the final press conference. But we knew, and then on top of that, the stylistic matchup. You got Lopez, who historically does not do well against movers, and then you got Romero, who is more of a counterpuncher at heart, and decided to become even more so one in this fight against Lopez, which was smart in a way because, that's what it tends to give Lopez trouble. But at the same time, it whether it was correct or not to do, it wasn't going to be right for the fans either way. Then you add on top of that a mediocre undercard. And you had all the makings of a disaster. It could have been worse, of course. Maybe somebody could have bitten another person, zero-off or maybe a couple of low blows and a riot thereafter. Although I will say that would have probably been more entertaining than what we saw in the ring. But nevertheless, you're right, Frank.
I thought you were giving them some ideas.
But I mean, yeah, but Frank's right. I try to be I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I'm a glass half full type of guy. But yeah, this event was bad. Like Frank said, I went on social media and there's a lot of people complaining. And as much of a contrarian that you may want to be, anybody out there, you can't really defend what we saw yesterday. It was, if it would have been free on the zone, I wouldn't have complained too much. But the fact that we had to fork over 80 plus buckaroos for that, and on top of that, again, this is coming from a guy who already almost expected this type of fight. Again, I'm never 100% sure with his predictions, but I'm glad when I'm wrong, by the way. Like Fury Usyk, I remember I thought it was going to be boring. It turned out to be very entertaining. This one, not so, man. I wanted to be wrong, but it's that's why I wasn't that disappointed with the fight. I know some people were, so you should have seen I can repeat, it's a Sunday show, so I can repeat some of the things people were saying in the Discord, but it was that type of fight where you go, what are these two guys doing, man? It was really just bizarre.
And, I wanted to touch on what you guys were saying as I was listening before I jumped on about the scoring. And it really goes to show how different people see different things. And I thought, I've seen Tio dominated, and then people were upset with the controversial score. But really, a lot of nothing happened. But I could see people giving the round to Rolly because he's swinging hard. And he's missing, but he landed a few good shots on Tio that swelled his side of his face up. And I could see how you could give 3, 4, maybe 5 rounds to Rolly just based on the punishment aspect and with Tio bleeding. But overall, I had it 117, 111. And I thought Tio was just, he was just busier. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's about how you really score fight. And I see a problem when Navarrete faces Oshaki Foster. That's going to be versus scoring. And it's going to depend on, do you like a guy working or a guy just pot shotting? Do you judge who's landing the harder shot? Like you see a guy wobbled, okay, I'm going to give him the round. Or you see just a guy being busier, well, I'll give him the round. But what made me decidedly favor Tio was the Raleigh running. And like Bucho said, the jumping back. When I see a guy doing that, automatic lose the round. I'm sorry, call me a casual, but you're going to lose the round when you're jumping back and actively trying not to engage. And Rolly did a whole lot of that.
Interesting you mentioned that because Chief and I were planning on doing another historical episode, and a little preview here for everybody. One of the subjects is going to be Eddie Perkins, one of the most overlooked boxers of all time. And he used to do that. I think it was Kaplan, or what's his name, the legendary historian. He said this dude, because they asked him who was better, him or Ali, because I think they were both from the same era rather. And but obviously Perkins never got the same due as Ali or even close to that. But they asked him who was better, Ali or Perkins in terms of defense. He goes, Perkins, because Ali at certain spots he would run. Whereas Perkins would actually stand in front of you, just shuffle the feet a little bit, just no excessive movement. He would actually try to counter. And I said, see, that's the thing. That's what boxing experts used to recognize as real defense. And like you said, Frank, they would penalize a guy for saying, hey, man, you're not trying to fight here. You're leaping back. And that's what a lot of these guys do. Shaqy Foster does it too, although to his credit, not as much as he used to before. But that's not real boxing defense in my eyes. I mean, if you want to do it a couple of times, fine. It's not against the rules, but now, when we do get about on the subject matter of against the rules, now we're talking completely running around the ring for 30 seconds at a clip, clinching, dipping below the waist. That's where we get to against the rules. But yes.
When I first jumped in the ring, when I first started boxing, that was the first thing I did. That was my defense, was leaping back. I think that's what I see a lot of people doing. You automatically jump, right? A guy throws a punch, you just jump back. It's just natural, and then a coach or somebody has to teach you, no, you just the best thing is to slightly move. You're safer. It's actually more dangerous to lean back or go all the way back.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the leaping back and all that, because I want to touch on that. Romero actually mentioned something along those lines, but I just want to read here what Lopez said after the fight. He said, if you lose and you come back, you never lost because you're a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a true example of what winning is. There's a lot of winning in those sentences. It ain't about losing. It's about never giving up. The scorecard, I couldn't care less because at the end we got the victory. There's a certain degree of truth to what he's saying about losses shouldn't really mean that much. However, one of the reasons why they mean so much now is because these guys are so inactive. So, and I've said this before. So if you only fight twice a year, and it just so happens that the last fight of the year that you had is the one where you look bad, that's bad, man. Because now you got another 6 months before you fight again. So that's 6 months. All people remember, because that's how boxing fans are for the most part. They only remember the last time they saw you. And again, if you performed horribly or you looked bad, that's how you're going to be remembered. But like I said, a lot of boxing fans, and I sometimes fall into that myself, of course, we have the memory of goldfish. We only remember what happened the last 30 seconds. And that's what something akin to that happens when we're watching a fight. So back in the day, it didn't matter when guys lost because they would come back to less than a month later and they were fighting again. Nowadays, a loss matters a lot more to these guys because they don't fight that often. So anyway, we're going to talk about that as well later on. But yeah, so Lopez, what before we get to Romero here and the thing about the defense and what real defense is, what do you think is next for Lopez? And a lot of people now are saying that Lopez probably doesn't beat a lot of these welterweights that are out there now, like probably Keyshawn Davis, Hitchens, and Haney. What do you guys think about those fights? What's next for Teofimo Lopez here?
Well, trying to be positive. That's the one positive I'm going to take away. I'm going to try to be a positive fan. And okay, at least Teofimo's back and he's a name. And any fight he's in is going to draw attention, especially if it's versus the bigger names like Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia. So, but he did say something interesting. He said he's going to take a long layoff. That's what I heard.
Is that what he said?
So, yeah, he said, I'm going to need a lot of time at the end.
What?
Yeah. It looks like he's going to try to sit out till probably next summer. I mean, he's not going back this year.
I mean, what is the logic? I mean, maybe it's the zone. They don't have that much money now that they've got everybody under one umbrella. They can't really be spreading that much money. Maybe that's going to be the calendar for everybody out there. All the top guys say, hey, 2 fights per year at the most. Or maybe some of these guys, I mean, if he's saying that and nobody else is forcing him to do it, then see, this is why Lopez, he has to be at fault too for never becoming a big star because, remember, after the Lomachenko win, I know we were going through the pandemic and there weren't any events going on, but this motherfucker killed his own momentum with his whole hijinks about wanting to fight on Thriller and getting into it with Top Rank and then losing to Cambosos. I mean, this is a guy who sabotages his own career. No ifs and buts about it. Now he wants to take a long layoff. I mean, what does he think? He's got 15 more years in boxing? He's already, 29?
These people are fucking retarded. He thinks he's a superstar. He can just wait it out, take a long break, come back, and people are still gonna want to see him. People are gonna forget about him, especially after this performance. It's not like he knocked out Rolly Romero.
Exactly.
So they're delusional. These people are delusional. He's still living off that victory of Lomachenko. I'm telling you.
Snackford in the chat says in his defense, he's probably letting that cut heal properly. Yeah, maybe, but 6 months is that standard procedure for a cut that you got to stay 6 months?
I'm just saying that, but if you listen to the end, that's what I'm interpreting. He said he's gonna have a long layoff, but I'm interpreting as he won't be back till middle of next year.
Oh my goodness gracious! Well, man,
he's a superstar.
Yeah, he's a superstar. Yeah. I saw that
they.
But
also, I think. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying he believes he's a star and he doesn't need to promote himself. He needs to be fighting consistently. He needs to stay in the public eye.
They all do.
But
you're right, though. It's yeah.
No, part of my thinking too is a lot of it is strategic, and I think these guys, especially like a Lopez, he wants to see the landscape, and what you're trying to do is see who looks the worst, and then you go after that guy.
Right.
That's a lot of what I think it is too.
Maybe that's
true. I mean, there are big options money wise. I mean, the biggest money fight for him would be a Ryan Garcia fight. Let's not kid ourselves. Ryan Garcia is the A side in that division. Where he's the best or not is another discussion. But he's the one that brings in all the money now, and
that's true.
So he's probably gonna look at that fight and see what happens. He could also fight Conor Benn if Conor Benn wins that fight. That's another big fight. He could go to the UK for that. There's a Haney option, but I don't know what you guys think about that potential fight. How big would it be? I think it would be a boring fight, but in terms of appeal for the fans, what do you guys think?
Well, first of all, I want to say a Nightmare in the chat says he's taking a layoff because he's got a kid on the way. Yeah, emphasis on the way. He hasn't even been born yet. How long
Yeah.
I mean, and even then, how many fucking guys they have babies all the time and they're still fighting, they're still keeping active. They don't go, oh, I got to take a long layoff. I mean, see,
people
that's
are fighting wars or they're on duty and they have to leave. I mean, like I understand, like he wants to be there for his kid, but at the same time,
but then, yeah, I mean,
he's not a superstar.
Exactly.
Seriously,
I mean, he can't.
He's not a superstar. No, he's not a superstar. Look at the crowd, like you guys mentioned. Was it a full? Was it sold out?
Absolutely not. Not
No.
even close, apparently.
So he's not a superstar. So taking time off, okay, sure, but how a long layoff? Man, that's a bad idea.
Absolutely. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's indicative of the world of boxing now that we have. By the way, going back to Romero here and what Frank said about the defense or lack thereof, Romero, this is what he had to say after the fight, by the way. He was acting erratically throughout the whole week, by the way. Just again, like I don't know if he's got mental issues, he's on the spectrum, or maybe what the nickname that Sobers gave him during the week, that sobriquet of what did he call it? Remedial Rolly. I mean, there might be something to it. But anyway, after the fight, he said, my immediate thoughts, look at my face. I got hit with what? 2 clean shots the whole fight, Romero said. If that's enough to beat the champion, that's enough. So he's going with the old, look at my face and look at this, not excuse, but what argument that some fighters have. I mean, I got to tell you, the judges aren't supposed to judge blood or damage. I mean, who was the fighter that had horrible... especially white-skinned guys, they tend to, I mean, you punch them a little, just touch them on the faces, they start swelling up. I mean, so that's not exactly indicative of hard punches or the best punches or the most effective punches landed. He continued, honestly, it should have been counted as a knockdown, but you know how it is. Now, that's the other thing, though. He buckled Lopez with a right hand, and at some point thereafter, Lopez went down because they clinched. I think about it was 5 or 6 seconds later. I would have to rewatch the fight, but would you guys have counted that as a knockdown when he finally did hit the ground, or
He slipped, no? At some point.
Yeah, but I mean, if he would have been after 2-3 seconds after he got caught and they tangle and then he goes, yeah, maybe you could count that as a knockdown, but I think there was a lot of time in between. And when he got buckled, his gloves didn't touch the canvas, so I that shouldn't have been a.
No, there wasn't a knockdown. I didn't see a knockdown. I'll have to watch it again, but no.
So yeah, and then Romero continues.
I thought it was a knockdown at first, but then I looked at it. You're right. Like he kind of like stumbled after the sequence. But it makes you wonder if like he lost balance because of that big hit, right?
Yeah,
could have been.
So I have to recognize for jumping in and joining us.
100%.
The other thing is, Romero continues saying, honestly, it should have been counted as a knockdown. He survived. He knows how to survive. I hit him so many times clean and hurt him. Some of those rounds were for sure 10-8 rounds. I mean, okay, now he's sort of, for a guy that didn't have a lot to say and still didn't have a lot to say in the ring interview after the fight, he all of a sudden he found a lot to say in the post-fight press conference. And he said, I love Teofimo, that's all. He's my little brother. That doesn't change anything. He has no control over the scoring of the judges. So there you go. So Romero feels that he should have won. I mean, evidently Ismael Salas didn't feel the same way. That's Romero's trainer, because he kept imploring him to let it. Mi Rolly, tiene que pegar, chico. He kept saying that.
Nene, he was calling him
mi
nene.
nene. And Romero kept looking away.
I didn't know Romero knew Spanish.
I don't think he does, by the way. I don't think he does.
No, he does. I think I saw a video where his Spanish is pretty good.
It seemed like he didn't, because every time Salas was trying to talk to him, the guy was staring.
Because he's I'm trying to choose the right words. He looks like he has mental problems.
Even who was it?
Well,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He might know more Spanish than Full TV.
Hey, Fu here. Get Fu. I see he's online. Get him over here, man. I want to get. I want to hear his takes too, on top of everyone else's.
Apparently, he had Romero winning the fight. I don't know if that's true. Somebody wrote that in the chat. But anyways, yeah.
But I wanted to point that out, the fact that every time Salas was trying to communicate something to
he wasn't paying attention.
He wasn't. He was looking. There was one of the commentators said, I don't know what it is about Rolly. He's smart. I've talked to him before. He's smart, but there's just a glazed look in his eyes. And some people are saying it might be already CTE or something, God forbid. But
no, he's just like that.
I'll say this, man. We've got some excellent technology here nowadays that's available to everybody. You got so-called AI. Yeah, you can actually access certain what do they call it, Vocaroo, or I forget what the term is for the cameras, for the flock cameras. I can actually use EKGs. Anyway, it's a whole process, and you can actually scan and put the logistics into AI, and it would actually give you a return, a facsimile of a person's inner thoughts. And so I actually did that with Rolly Romero, and when he was listening to Salas' instructions, or maybe not listening to them, and this is what what he was going on inside of his head. Check this out. Well, there you go. Amazing. I'm telling you, technology.
Weren't those old cartoons culturally insensitive?
I mean, I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't see race, but
Amazing.
I'll say this, man. So Rolly Romero definitely, he believes he won. He says some rounds should have been 10-8. I mean,
I like how he throws that in there, right?
Yes.
Because if you give him some rounds 10-8,
I think it should have been
right. Like I'm just.
I think some of the rounds I think it should have been a stoppage. I think that he should have waited off 3-4 times during the fight. But yeah, man. I mean, yeah.
I like how he says, "I got nothing but love for my little brother."
And by the way, I think he is older, right?
Yeah, but I think I know what he
year.
means by little brother. Like,
well, he's still my son, like.
Yeah, he's still my son.
And by the way, this is what I wanted to touch on because Frank brought up this point, and other people did as well in the Discord. He says they asked him in the post-fight press conference about why he didn't let his hands go more, as his trainer was imploring him to. And Romero replied by saying, "Why don't we ask why I wasn't more aggressive down the stretch? To every single boxer that literally just picks, moves, Romero said. Everyone praises that as beautiful, perfect boxing, yada, yada, yada. But when I do it, why don't I get the same credit like everybody else, right? Why? Is it because I'm a power puncher? Because I'm awkward? I never get a fair shake." Anyway, he continues complaining. I understand his point, and see how that style of him leaping back was very... that's all you got to do against Lopez. Listen, I couldn't come close to making it a distance against Teofimo Lopez, but I guarantee you, anybody with just a little bit more skill than I do, if he starts leaping back, that's enough to give Lopez trouble. Again, probably still get stopped. He'd whoop me so badly. What I'm saying is, just like Jake Paul against Joshua, if you're cheating, you're gonna give the other guy trouble. Especially if they allowed you to get cheated. And I'm not saying Romero was cheating. And leaping back technically is not that, unless it's certainly, if it gets to a certain point.
Well, it's legal. What type of fight does he think he fought, though?
But that's what I'd like to know, man.
What did he think he did that we should give him the fight for? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, when trainers tell a guy, you need to do more, blah, blah, blah. I mean, again, it's up to fans to speculate about, the judges, they're worried about the judges. Now, it's generally when a trainer does that is he knows the fight is close. Or being lost, rather, in this case. And Salas, he was telling him that he wasn't missing words. He's like, "Hey, man, mi nene, está perdiendo la pelea." So,
when we break down fights, one of the categories is ring IQ. And Rolly, you should know that you need to do more. That's kind of ring IQ, right? Like, hey, it might be close. I need a shoe shine. I need to do something to make it look good, whether that's winking and smiling when you get hit. You got to use those little veteran tactics to even if you lost a round, to make it look like you won.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's
not
general.
going to happen when he was outskilled. And the reason now I say this because he didn't know what to do. He was on the defense. He was waiting for Teofimo Lopez to do something, to make a mistake. I think even the commentators mentioned that. He's waiting for Lopez to make a mistake because he couldn't initiate anything. He didn't have the IQ to initiate anything.
They're both counter punches. It's no surprise that fight was boring as fuck, man.
Yeah, that was the reason why it was going to be a boring fight. But Teofimo Lopez was the one that had to change a little bit. Yeah, outworked him, be on the offensive a little bit more. Because or else there wouldn't be a fight, which is almost what we got. But yeah, Romero couldn't do it what Teofimo did. He just...
What do you mean,
waited. Romero couldn't do what Teofimo Lopez did. Teofimo Lopez, I think I fucked it up. He was landing jabs, landing rights to the body, touching him, doing something. He wasn't heavy punches, but he was touching.
Well,
Lopez, Romero. I keep mixing.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing. There's look, Romero, like I said, he's good but limited. Lopez is also limited. We've seen him limit, but he's way more skilled at a certain point. He can do more, even if he doesn't adapt that well, even if he doesn't push the pace as much as he should. Look, he beat Josh Taylor. He beat Lomachenko. He beat Jermaine Ortiz. I don't think Romero beats Jermaine Ortiz Because and again, Romero got outboxed by Jackson Marinas and got a gift decision. He was doing okay against Tank Davis and then ran into a pinpoint shot. And those same mistakes are out there. He cannot lead. That's why he got caught against Tank Davis. And not for nothing, but Lopez at some point, I like the fact that he pressured more. I give him his credit. But part of me still wonders, man, what if you just back foot bitch it against these guys? Give him a taste of their own medicine. Because he's athletic. He's got footwork. He could just run around the ring, see what works or what happens. Could have done that against Shakur Stevenson. In hindsight, he should have done that. Because I guarantee you Shakur Stevenson wouldn't have gone against after him. And if he would have looked bad. But I don't know. He's got this sense of, I don't know what it is. Maybe he feels, I'm giving him credit here. Maybe he's got a sense of loyalty. What's the word I'm looking for here? Duty. A sense of duty that, hey, I'm the one that has to go make the fight happen. And he just does it. But hey, when the guys don't want to cooperate, why don't you give them a taste of their own medicine and start back foot bitching it too? But anyway.
Well, you guys said that they knew each other too. I mean, they know each other intimately. That's what we've known about them.
How intimate?
Yeah,
No, they do, but
at least
I have a stupid question.
Intimate,
at least they fought.
Exactly. Are they like intimate? Like, you know.
Well, intimate is, they've spent the night together. I'm assuming.
Whoa, wait a minute.
I don't mean nothing happened.
It's
I'm
a
just
Sunday
saying they
show,
probably
man. Come
hung
on.
out, got drunk, and fell asleep on the couch.
They probably just slept in the same bed. That's all. I don't think anything happened.
You go to the club, you're drunk, you go, and then you just fall asleep. But I have a stupid question. Who do you think wins between Rolly and Mario Barrios?
That's not a stupid question. That's actually a pretty good
That's
even
actually
match.
a good question. Maybe, I don't know.
I think Rolly edges it.
Barrios could outwork him. Barrios could definitely outwork.
It's an interesting question, right? Just to kind of compare levels, because Tio's in the middle. Probably Haney's above Tio, and then Rolly and Mario Barrios are kind of the workers, like in wrestling terms. The work guys.
Barrios really. Sometimes I don't give a guy enough credit, and sometimes I give him too much credit. With Barrios, when he was gonna fight Pacquiao last year, I said, man, Pacquiao's an all-time great, but how long was it? 4 years out of the ring, 47 years old. He's a guy that's shorter, relies on speed. At that age, he's not going to work even against a guy like Barrios. And sure enough, he pulls out a draw. That's when I said, nah, Barrios is... That's why, look, Garcia, I know there's people out there that like him and all that, but that win over Barrios was being overrated, especially by that. I just rewatched that fight again for a video, and the commentators on the zone, how big a win is this for Garcia? I go, come on, it's Mario Barrios. I mean, what are we doing here? We're acting like the guy's the best welterweight in the world. And even if he was the best welterweight in the world, his welterweight division is mediocre, so that doesn't really say much. But to your question, yeah, Barrios isn't all that good.
I think he could outbox Rolly, though.
I probably would go, to answer Frank's question, I think I would go Barrios.
You know what? Romero's just too strong, man. And Barrios, he seems weak to me. There's
good point too.
He's not weak, vulnerable. He's vulnerable. He's got good hand speed. He's got good jabs, but he doesn't move his head enough too either. That's another problem. And so he's gonna be in line for those Romero's when he starts, and those are hard shots. I mean, Lopez isn't exactly a little guy either. I know he was moving up and all that, but he's a guy that's got bulging muscles and all that. He was getting moved by some of these Romero punches. That's why Romero, he would have been well suited as more of an offensive-minded fighter, weight on his front foot, leaning forward a little bit, a guard. He could have been doing some damage like that way. But no, he came up in Vegas or wherever he was from. They tried to make him fight like a Mayweather, because at the time when he was boxing as an amateur, probably that's when Mayweather was still on top. And all those guys wanted to be Mayweather. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to fight like Mayweather. You're not. At some point, Mayweather, when his style wouldn't work, he would switch it up.
Yeah, just like him.
But that's the thing. When Mayweather, his style wouldn't work, the shoulder rolling countering wouldn't work. Sometimes he would step it up, more attacking. These guys can't do it. They're stuck in that mode. They go, what do I do now? Now what do I do? Tell me. They don't know. They don't know how to fight going forward. It's a lost art. So anyway, yeah, Romero keeps going. I never get a fair shake. I mean, tell that to Jackson Marinas. He's an Olympian, all this stuff. I clearly outboxed him. I cut him. I hurt him multiple times. It's clear as day. No, it's not as clear as day, first of all. It's about as blurry as what the thoughts in your mind, first of all. Second of all, he's doing the same thing that some of these guys go. Bernard, Frank said that whenever you get hit, you got to stick your tongue out, shake your ass. Then, tricks of the trade, right? To try to show the people, I'm not hurt. This is something similar. When a guy ends up getting cut or whatever, it's always good to point out every single detail, every single injury on a guy's face. That way you compound it, and it makes it sound like, whoa, yeah, you're right. He did do it. Because if you just say, look at his face. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. No, but if you say, I cut him, I bruised him, I got him, swelled him up. Now you're listing three things. So it makes it sound like, whoa, you did all that? But then it reminds me of Bernard Hopkins when he fought Chad Dawson in the rematch. He cut him.
No, he used to say.
But hold on, record this real quick. Hopkins cut him twice with headbutts, okay? And then after the fight, clearly Hopkins lost that one. And after the fight, he goes, well, I won. I cut him. Busted him up. It's like, wait a minute, you cut him with headbutts. Like, you didn't cut him with jabs. So, I mean, with punches. So it's the same thing here. I mean, okay, you cut him. Why? You think you win? You deserve to win because you cut him?
What are you talking about, the Kawasaki fight?
No, the Chad Dawson, the second one.
Oh, yeah. Sure. That's right. I remember that. But I thought he got thoroughly outboxed.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's pointing out like, well, I cut him. Busted him up. It's like, you didn't cut him with punches. You cut him with headbutts. That doesn't count. Like, you can point out, oh yeah, I cut him. But if you cut him with non-punches, what does that do?
He really did, man. He just cut him with headbutts.
So that's the thing. So that's what I'm saying here about Romero. Is like he's pointing out.
Memory of that fight.
Yeah, thank you. But Romero is pointing out like, hey, I cut him. Okay, so what? You cut him. It's not like it's not like you cut him every time you punch him because you weren't punching enough. So him pointing out an injury does not mean that he won the fight. I don't know what he's really reaching here. He's reaching just like he was reaching.
What he should say is like, I think I landed better shots. I was bruising his face up. That's the way to say it. Don't say, oh, I put more bruises. Just say, I felt like I landed better shots and I was bruising his face up from those better shots.
Yeah,
you can say that.
That's true. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's angry that he didn't get the win, and I'm not really all that thrilled or in a hurry to see.
Once I got 8-4. I thought that was kind of accurate. 8-4 for Tio.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he won about that much.
Yeah, even 7-5, right? Would you say that's too much?
It'd be a little bit pushing it.
Yeah, because that's what
we pushed it a little too much for. But that fight was so dull. It was not that much action, right?
Exactly. That's why I was saying earlier that these guys they do it to themselves, man. I mean, I thought Lopez clearly won the fight, but I understand why because again, you got to remember, guys, we're watching on TV. We got the best seat in the house in a lot of ways. These judges, they're stuck in one position. And when there's not much happening and they're not the cleanest of punches that are being landed, imagine if they're hard for us to notice on TV. Imagine a fucking 78-year-old drooling judge looking with an obstructed view by the ropes. They're in the corner. He can't see. That's why you get some of these iffy decisions. That's why, not for nothing, but hey, let's go old school, man. I mean, let's go new school, rather. Technology. Put these three old farts in a room, separate rooms, obviously, with a bunch of screens. No earphones, no nothing, no headphones, so they can't really hear the sound. I think maybe, I'm open for suggestions here about whether they should have sound. But yeah, put him in. Why do they have to be ringside? It's been proven for 100 years you're gonna get iffy decisions.
This is why I believe they do not want to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could always have that built-in excuse, which is something that I witnessed, not from that close. And twice I witnessed something totally different watching it live and then watch it on TV, right? But you're right, BDA. You should, with today's technology, should be able to be like, look, man, we don't need them to judge a fight, right by the fucking ring.
Mm-hmm.
We could have them sitting down in a room, maybe in some luxury box seats, and they could be just watching the fight on TV and judge it like that. What's wrong with that?
Exactly.
Get the best accurate scoring from a judge.
That's what I'm saying. But the boxing business is very reticent to change. Sometimes they like the way things are going right now. They're not going to change it.
They don't want to fix the corruption. That's what it is.
Why would they? By the way, I tell you what, though, somebody who was happy was obviously Teofimo Lopez. This is him after the fight. Look at that. Busting some moves, as the kids say. Whoa, what the fuck? Yeah, so that was a very short video. Actually, there's another one here. Hold on a second. This is, him and his father, they do everything, right? They sleep together and all that. So this is him and his father dancing. There you go. I tell you what, though, there was a report of a guy, I mentioned this in the last episode, a guy on Twitter was saying that on the night, or rather the day of Stevenson versus Lopez, he was supposed to interview Lopez Sr., and then decided against it because he wasn't right. And when people pressed him to say, are you saying he's drunk or was drunk? He's like, I'm not going to say, but then you see this guy, look at him drinking, right? I don't know if that's a good look. And on top of that, on fight week, Teofimo Sr. said that he finally came out and admitted that, I don't know, this is weird. I don't know why he didn't make the news more, but this was Frank Bay's favorite YouTuber, Brandon Taylor, formerly known as True School Sports. We were talking about that the other day. And he was interviewing Lopez, and Lopez Sr. admitted he was on drugs for the Stevenson fight. I don't know if he was kidding, but he says, I wasn't in a good place, bro. I was fucking doing drugs. I let the devil blind me, and I didn't protect my son. Like, come on, that can't be. And if that's the case, and I know this is his father and everything, but why would Teofimo Lopez Jr. keep going with this guy?
I was on drugs. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and Butcher,
I was just on drugs. That's all.
I was just on drugs, man. But believe me, I'm not anymore, bro.
I like how he's admitting that he was breaking the law, right?
And I was doing drugs, stealing banks, and all that. Yeah,
I killed the hooker. Didn't need to.
It wasn't my fault, bro. But yeah, I see what you posted here. There's Shakur Stevenson 2 tweets where he's saying, my last 2 opponents became world champions after fighting me. That's tough. First of all, they're not world champions. I mean, what does that mean? Anybody can get a belt. Second of all,
Shakur said that.
I know. But
is the Clarissa Shields of men boxing.
He really is, man.
Shut the fuck up, you ugly troll, you boring ass fighter. Like nobody's. Don't you notice? Nobody cares whether you fight or not.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point right there as well. And on top of that,
nobody cares. Nobody's looking forward to your boring ass fights.
He's trying to get some traction going with this whole thing. But then again, this is the same thing that Tank Davis fans were doing. Barrios became a champion. He's not a champion. Just because he got a belt doesn't make him a champion. Rolly won a championship. He was gifted a cum rag after he almost lost to Old Man Barroso, and he needed Tony Weeks' the referee's help to do so. So this whole thing of, look at my competition is doing better. I mean, to me, this Lopez win isn't aging.
I'd rather see a Tank fight than a Shakur fight any fucking day.
I tell you what, I give more credit for this. I give Shakur Stevenson more credit for the Cepeda win than for the Lopez. The Lopez, I wouldn't really be bragging about that because Lopez had already shown that he had trouble against movers. At least against Cepeda, we'd seen him struggle against Farmer the first time, but not enough people gave Cepeda credit for the second Farmer fight. And Shakur Stevenson showed you that, hey, man, he could keep up with Cepeda, and he didn't. He didn't clinch. He didn't clinch in that fight. Other guys, how many, like Farmer, clinched throughout the whole fight against Cepeda in both of them. Shakur Stevenson didn't. So to me, that win is better than the Lopez. The Lopez win, not aging all that well. Not all that well.
Let me ask you something, BDA. Would you say last night's fight was better than Shakur Stevenson's Cepeda fight?
No. And by the way, this Romero fight again, it was Romero Lopez. It was kind of similar to Garcia versus Romero. In fact, according to CompuBox, if I remember correctly, I think Romero landed more shots on Lopez than he did on Garcia. Garcia actually, by the way, Garcia landed Romero in that fight, not by as much as Lopez did, not even close, because I think Lopez doubled the amount of connects he had on Romero last night. But what I'm saying is Romero is a guy that he's there to be beat. Yeah, he's tough because he's big and he seems to be operating at another level in another dimension because he's so out there. But no, he's very limited too. So Lopez didn't look good either. That's for sure. But he did what he had to beat him. Guys, we're gonna move on. Anything else you guys want to say about this fight? About the Lopez Romero fight?
No, I think we talked enough about it.
Yeah, I agree.
I wanted to say something. I don't know if we should get into the. Well, let's skip ahead a little bit here. And on the undercard, Yuenli Hernandez, El Diablo. Oh, he's got 2 nicknames, by the way, Yo-Yo and El Diablo. I like Yo-Yo better. El Diablo, I'm not a big fan of Satan, Lucifer, all that stuff. But he ended up winning by majority decision, another majority decision, over Francisco Veron from Argentina. Argentina fighting for respect after They became public enemy number one after the World Cup. So Francisco Veron trying to make things right, and he put up a hell of an effort, let me tell you. But he ended up coming short by scores of 99, 91, 98, 92, and like I said, the ones draw 95, 95, which was highly generous to Veron. And Yoeli Hernandez now becomes number 2 according to Ring Magazine's rankings in the middleweight division. Guys, if you saw this fight, what'd you think of it?
I didn't see it, BDA, so I really don't have a comment.
Get out of here. Get out of here. How do we kick him off?
Come on.
No. Yeah, who wants to go first? Otherwise, I'll just ramble.
You're talking about the Hernandez fight?
Yes.
Yeah. I think Hernandez won the fight. He was competitive, but he clearly won the fight. Was that the fight where it was clinching, and then Sergio Mora said that clinching, a lot of people are not going to like this, but clinching is part of the game, whether you like it or not. Yeah, that's what he said. Whether you like it or not, that's part of. Yeah, I didn't like that. That's everything. That's the thing that I remember from that fight. Sergio Mora fucking doing this saying this blasphemous thing. I mean, clinching is illegal. It's not part of the game. It shouldn't be part of the game.
Why would it be, right?
Guys, you're missing, man. I mean, look, when people complain about Ryan Garcia on PED, guys, it's part of the boxing. I know most guys don't like it, but it's part of boxing. Yeah, that's what I'm going to start saying nowadays. Whenever somebody low blows a guy and the referee doesn't catch it, guys, low blows are part of boxing. Stop complaining.
When somebody dips below the waist, bends below the waist, that's part of the game. I mean, you can do it a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, Sergio Mora, he clinched a lot too during his time. So
that's why he's defending this.
I would have. He was the one that was encouraging the aforementioned Tevin Farmer to clinch against Zepeda. It's a smart strategy, really smart. What about
it's illegal?
It's illegal and it's shit for the fans. It doesn't.
And it fucks up exactly. It doesn't do anything. Like it fucks up the sport. What is this guy talking about?
See, this is one where I'm starting to put my foot down a little bit more and complain a little bit more because
we have to.
Some
complain,
of these guys.
Hold
on, Bucho. The reason why I say complain more is because this is one of the reasons why boxing is going down the drain, and it's been going down the drain for years because people just overlook things and they want to make up their own rules. Well, yeah, clinching is part of boxing. Yeah, we know it's part of boxing. That's not the discussion. The discussion is that it's not illegal. It's illegal. That's what we're saying. Get it out of boxing.
Because you want to make it part of boxing doesn't make it part of boxing.
Exactly.
There are rules. You want to make it part of boxing, change the rules. If not, shut the fuck up. It's ruining the sport.
Absolutely. So yeah, Yoeli Hernandez ended up winning. This dude is strong, let me tell you. This dude is strong. He can roll. He can block. Good body shots. Veron, though,
I tell you. At some point.
I didn't hear you. What?
Hard. He got tagged hard at some point.
Yeah, he did.
Remember the fight, he got hurt. So, I mean, and that was against, who the fuck was this guy from Argentina? I forgot his name.
Veron.
He wasn't that bad, but there's better fighters than him, right, in the division. So,
well, that's the thing. That's the thing I wanted to say here was that now it's step-up time for Hernandez. And I know the 160-pound division isn't the most heavily populated when it comes to talent, but Hernandez has been looking good. But let's put it into perspective, too. He's been fighting smaller guys. He fought, what's his name? Gaucher, who's a natural 54-pounder. Veron was coming up from 154 as well. So now it's about time that he steps up against a guy his own size. But again, there's political divisions there. Carlos Adames, he's a free agent now, so that fight should be easier to make. I know Lara is with the PBC, I think. I don't know if he's still with the PBC. And he's 43, 44, fighting once a year on that Usyk and Crawford plan. Who knows what he's doing.
Like 45.
Yeah, he's probably 50. I mean, come on, he's Cuban, so he's probably lied about his age. But I'm saying is Hernandez needs to step it up. And look, Veron, I'm not going to penalize him too much for that Veron because I knew Veron. If you'd seen Veron fight, you knew he was tough. I mean, he was playing his trade over on Pro Box. He's well-conditioned, very active. He's skilled, wily. He lost against, what's his name, Brandon Adams on the Zone tournament a couple of years ago. I want to say 2 years ago. But he gave him, I mean, he didn't get completely outclassed. So he was a good benchmark here for Hernandez. But yeah, Hernandez needs to sort of step it up. And Malik Scott wasn't too impressed. He was a little bit critical of Hernandez, saying he didn't get the knockout and that's going to hurt him against the best opponents out there. They're going to find, he said, the loopholes.
Yes, I wanted to mention that as well. Malik Scott, Hernandez, he says, yeah, disappointed. Yeah, exactly what you said. Not because there wasn't any knockdowns or knockouts. I'm like, does he criticize Shakur Stevenson the same way? After Shakur Stevenson goes 12 rounds? Does he go out and say, oh, well, he didn't stop his opponent. Oh, he could have done more? No, he's satisfied with 12 round boring ass decisions. But when it comes to Hernandez, oh no, well, he disappointed me. He didn't stop this guy. He didn't stop, even though he dominated the Argentinian. That wasn't enough for Malik Scott, apparently.
Well, it's interesting because other people, myself included, have made that argument about Stevenson. Because some people could say, well, Bucho, I mean, look, Stevenson dominates, so he doesn't need to go for the knockdown. But no, we've made the same argument that in the De Los Santos fight, different judges could have gone a different way. He couldn't get the knockout, not even close to hurting De Los Santos because he didn't even try. So that inability to go for it or even hurt his opponent is going to cost him eventually against someone who's as athletic as he is or can figure out to diminish that defensive style of Shakur Stevenson. Remember, there was that infamous video where he was on Instagram Live and this guy said, hey, yo, homeboy, you fight Tank Davis that way, you ain't getting that decision. And Shakur Stevenson got angry. Who made you? Boxing is God. And I was like, I'm gonna keep doing what I do. He's like, no, man, you don't understand. You're gonna get robbed. You're gonna cry. I mean, you're gonna get robbed. See, that's what he's gonna say. He's gonna cry robbery. He's gonna complain. I never get my due. He's gonna be the perpetual victim. But hey, you lost because you didn't put pedal to the metal. So to Malik Scott's point, I understand Malik Scott's point that he shows certain limitations against one of the most skillful guys he's fought so far in Verdon. But Bucho's point is also correct that, hey, but Stevens has also struggled too, and people don't go, oh, he couldn't get the knockout. Those loopholes are going to be exploited by somebody better. They don't say that. So, and by the way, that just goes to show you too the power of knockouts. Because a lot of people can claim, I like the sweet science. If you don't like boring fights, it's because you don't appreciate boxing. You're not a real boxing head. But we've seen this year the example of guys like Benavides and Jaron Ennis and Bam Rodriguez back in November. When they score a knockout over an opponent that was supposed to give him a tough fight, it sets the boxing world afire. It creates a whole different type of buzz. So as much as people don't want to admit it, Frank, go ahead, Frank. I'm curious to hear what you guys say about it.
Oh, well, no, I was gonna piggyback off what you guys are saying. For me, it's the class thing is in these fights, what like Yo-Yo was doing, or some of the guys on the undercard, you need to show that this guy in front of you, like a Baron, who's a tough guy, is not in your league. He's not in your class. And that elevates you to get the bigger names so that they can't avoid you. Because now people could say, oh, you struggled against Baron. Because even though he didn't really struggle, but he needed to show that guy wasn't in his class. And the knockout is the only surefire way to make your case, make your statement.
Mm-hmm. Again, I understand Hernandez. I understand Malik Scott's point that, okay, once you step up in competition and the competition gives you tough fights, especially, remember, let's not forget, he hurt Hernandez, and this is a 154-pounder, not a 160-pounder. Yeah, I understand that there's loopholes that other fighters can take advantage of, but what Bucho is pointing out, not necessarily like, hey, we're not saying he's wrong necessarily, Malik Scott, but hey, why don't you apply that same standard?
But why is he asking for a stoppage? I mean, I'm pretty sure Shakur Stevenson was knocking everybody out.
Haney,
he wasn't fighting that vet.
Take it to Haney, right? I mean,
Haney too. He loves Haney, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Some fights where he's a massive favorite, Haney doesn't stop that opponent. He goes 12 rounds, obviously, and there's no criticism. So,
aren't they kind of revealing that they have higher standards for certain boxers?
Yes.
So in other words, if you have higher standards, you think that, like, subconsciously, you think they're actually better.
Exactly, that's a great point. Yeah, I think hadn't you said that before?
Knock out their
I think recognize you said that before. I think, or somebody had said it here. I forget who it was. I apologize, but it's true because
it was probably me.
Yeah,
I'm a genius.
Take all the credit you want. I will get Sunday. But but because look, Hernandez was coming forward. Meanwhile, guys like Haney, who outweighed their opponents on fight night by 20, 25 pounds, and they back foot bitch it. They miraculously get a knockdown. They refuse to go for it. And they get praised. ESPN, brilliant display of boxing by Devin Haney against Brian Norman. Yeah, forget all the clinching, all the wrestling. Meanwhile, a guy like Hernandez is coming forward, making the fight happen. Oh, look at all those loopholes. Look at all those. Oh, man, a top fighter is going to take. I mean, yeah.
Like, no, he doesn't got it. He ain't got it. Like, come on.
Yeah, did he say that? He doesn't got it or something like that?
I think so.
Something like that. He probably sounded.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Where's my...
Oh, yeah, let's move on.
No, I think we're not going to move on. How about that?
We're staying here.
Fellas. Everybody's here.
Should we talk about the...
Well, hold on. I want
Russell fight?
Hold on. First of all, I'm missing my sound bites. Did I erase them? Fuck. think I erased him.
Yeah, you did.
You got to bring the brother into it.
No, that's not it, man.
You should have a James Tony soundbite.
I
That's
am
what you need.
tired of being
I will never lose to a white.
Oh, Boots has got the
I will
sound.
never lose to a white boy in my life. I don't care what nobody got to say. Can't no white boy beat me on any day of the week.
All right, listen. Something I did want to mention though about the Hernandez fight. First of all, the judges. One of them scoring in a draw. This is why Veron, and by the way, I completely disagree with that, but Veron was letting his hands go a lot. He wasn't landing cleanly, but he was letting his hands go. That's advice number one for boxers out there. Let your hands go. You never know when one of these judges, again, fucking 80-year-old senile judges dozing off in the corner, you never know if they wake up one time, they see the flurry, and then they fall asleep, and then they wake up and they see another flurry, they're going to give you the fight. Make sure to do that. Yeah, just let your hands go. You're giving yourself the benefit of the doubt. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and look, I'm going to be hypercritical today because boxing needs a kick in the ass. Thomas Taylor, referee Thomas Taylor, I've said before, I got a gripe against him because in the Guido Vianelli fight against Torres, he penalized Vianelli, whatever his name is, for clinching. And I said, finally, someone's doing something, but he was actually screaming and scolding Vianelli. And that was in the third round. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be a disqualification. Finally, a disqualification for clinching. Thereafter, Thomas Taylor shut his mouth, almost as if somebody told him, hey, listen, you're not going to disqualify this guy. We hate disqualifications. Don't do it. And all of a sudden, he continued letting Vianelli clinch and not even any warnings or anything. So I've got a gripe against this guy. I don't know, he thinks he's pulling people over like a traffic stop or something. He keeps talking to them, gesticulating like he's giving firm commands like a police officer. He always seems to make it about him. I know Joe's already pointed out in another episode that this dude is too busy. It seems that's the vibe he gives, that he's too busy trying to look good for the cameras with his spray tan, as Joe likes to say, fake spray tan. And then yesterday, on top of that, look at that, he was wearing skinny pants. I don't know if you guys can. I'm zooming in here. He was wearing skinny pants.
What the fuck?
He gives me the vibes of the type of guy who's doing a lot of squats and a lot of deadlifts in the gym, and he wants to create as Wad Rapid would say, a round bubble butt that's going to attract other guys, not women, mind you, other guys that other guys can stare at and whistle at. Something weird about that. This dude's been putting it. I didn't look, by the way. I didn't look, so I leave it up to other people to tell me. That's why this angle. I don't want to look at the ass, but
strutting that ass.
Yes, strutting that ass. But yeah, this dude was. I don't know. Again, I don't know what he was doing with that clothing design.
Great ass!
I don't know what he was doing with that attire. But and then that was the least of it. By the way, this is in the show here. We're not going to be criticizing a person's attire too much. He goes something. Veron did something that he disliked. Thomas Taylor. So he goes over to Veron's corner and starts scolding them. Hey, yeah, said, don't do this, don't do that. And then the second chief, the chief second in the corner, tries to chime in, and Thomas Taylor stops him dry. He goes, I don't want to hear from chief seconds. Oh, no, didn't even say chief seconds. He said, I don't want to hear from seconds. And then he leaves, and they're talking in Spanish. ¿Qué dijo el man? No, que no entiende que no habla español. They were saying, they don't understand. He doesn't know that we don't understand Spanish. That chief second did understand English. English. The chief second did speak English. That's what he was trying to chime in. But Thomas Taylor was in such combative mode that I'm the boss here. Don't talk back to me. He didn't even ponder that. Hey, maybe this guy, that the trainer doesn't understand what I'm saying. Immediately he went into combative mode. Like, hey, don't talk back to me. I'm talking to the trainer. Trainer didn't even understand English. So that's how this dude, and the guy who refereed the Lamont Roach Isa Cruz fight. Two guys that try to be too hands-on, and I wouldn't mind. I would actually like it if they were hands-on because they would disqualify some of these back foot bitches, some of these clinchers, perpetual clinchers. But they don't do it. They like to talk tough, but then at the end of the day, they don't do anything, and that's even worse than not enforcing the rules in a way. Because at least if you're ignoring it, I go, okay, you're ignoring this whole thing. But not ignoring it and scolding guys for things that aren't really big infractions, and then ignoring the big ones, I mean, that is just... Joe in the chat says, boxing needs more than a kick in the ass. Boxing needs to get rid of the whole boxing establishment. Thomas Taylor is the worst fucking referee. Okay, that's Joe. Joe's going nuts in the chat. We shout out to Joe, jump in and jump. I saw you jumped in on the Discord. Jump in for a couple of minutes, and I want to hear your takes on this, because I hope I'm not the one imagining things here.
I would love to see a fucking referee. Yeah. No, I'll blow my ass. You know what I'm saying. He knows what I'm saying.
Don't make me get ICE in here. I tell you, man, boxing.
Man, that was crazy. Me and my friend saw that. We didn't know exactly what happened. I want to hear from you. Whatever the fuck. Like, that was weird.
I'm telling you, his brain was in combat mode. His brain was in I'm the boss mode. His brain was in ain't nobody gonna talk back to me. This is my world. You're just living in it. That's what he was on. He'd never even stopped to ponder, hey, maybe these guys don't understand anything I'm saying. The guy's Argentinian. He's wearing, but the guy's wearing like a leather fedora or something. I don't know what you call it. Clearly, he's not from the U.S. Nobody wears that shit anymore. Joe's jumping in. Joe, break it down, man, please. I can't be the only one.
No, that referee, dude, he's one of the worst referees in the sport. He thinks it's all about him. And I've said this for a while now. He's fucking terrible. He thinks everything's about him. The best referee is the referee you don't notice.
Mm-hmm.
It's all that guy. You know, him with his fucking haircut and his fucking spray tan.
What about the
referees like him make me sick, bro?
What about the skinny pants he was wearing? He was wearing some really tight.
I mean, come on, man. You're over fucking 35 years old. You can't be wearing those pants.
What do you think the aim was? Where maybe they were tight, but stretchy pants that allowed him to move around the ring or something?
No, dude. Those were special tight pants. Look at them. Look, they look like fucking spandex. They look like spandex. He just like I said, he's one of the worst fucking referees. Joe Cortez was a terrible referee. Bayless was another fucking terrible referee. I think Harvey Dock is pretty good. I don't really have a problem with Harvey Dock. But this Taylor, I told you before, he's fucking terrible.
Well, another thing.
He thinks it's about him.
Another thing about him was that he got. First of all, if you look at this, it looks like he's got Botox too on top of that. See how puffed up his cheeks look? And he looks like one of the Bogdanov brothers. But the other thing is, look at him. He's sort of smiling here when he's taking the point off of Morel from about, what was it, a year ago? A year ago. He looks like happy. He's like, oh, hey, I'm taking a point off. I'm sure gonna be on camera now. I'm certain to be on camera.
Yeah.
Look. He probably has this framed in his house.
When I see him refereeing a fight, I just shake my head, man. The guy from California is pretty good. I forget his name. A white guy, used to be a firefighter.
Oh, he was the referee for Fury Wilder 1. What was his name?
Jack Reese.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I think he's pretty good.
He had this was a little odd trivia about Jack Reese. He had the worst scorecard, I think, for the Lomachenko Salido fight. He was actually a judge, and I think he was the one that fucked that up.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah. I was so surprised because I loved him. I love him as a ref, and then when I heard that, I was like, "Bro, what are you doing? Why?"
Interesting, because that fight was in Texas, so.
I'll tell you this too. Sue, what's her name? Sue. Her last name's Bird. What's her name?
Adelaide.
She should never even be. She should never. She should never judge another fight in boxing.
Yeah, dude.
She's probably the most corrupt judge there is.
If I was Triple G that night, man, I'd have laid Bird out right there for everybody to see in the ring.
Well,
she should. They should have filed a complaint against her. She the first fight she judged every single round for Canelo.
Yeah, that was a bad decision. And by the way, Jack Reese, I just double checked. He was indeed a judge for the Lomachenko Salido fight, but that was a very uneventful. That was a very sloppy fight too. A lot of inside fighting, so I'm not surprised that he would give 8 rounds to Lomachenko. I don't think Lomachenko really. I mean, if you want to see Salido won that fight, even though he missed weight and was hitting him with low blows. I agree that should have been disqualification if you want, but I mean, but in terms of the overall action, you can't say, oh, Lomachenko should have won that. It was a robbery. I mean, you could argue more a robbery based on the shenanigans that occurred, rather than the actual fighting.
It's interesting you bring up the dirtiness of the fight though, because Jack Reese being a referee,
that's
watching
true.
the fight. I wonder if there's any crossover. He can't change his score necessarily. Because he's 30 strikes. That's the referee in the ring's job to deduct points. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he has to abide by the referee's decision. He can go out. He can jump onto the ring. It would be nice to see that every once in a while. A judge actually jumping to the ring is like, my fighter lost. But what was I going to say? So, yeah, that whole fight was bizarre. Another thing about Thomas Taylor, he's giving me Arthur McCanty Jr. vibes. I don't know if people remember, we've talked about Arthur McCanty Jr. before, the son of the legendary Arthur McCanty Sr., who has the distinction of refereeing all three Sugars: Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Sugar Shane Mosley. Hold on a second. So he's giving me those same vibes because he was getting very close to the fighters during the fight, same as Arthur McCarthy Jr. would do. In fact, Arthur McCarthy Jr. almost got hit a bunch of times and actually did get hit by Badu Jack in the Badu Jack versus James DeGale fight in 2018, which I remember thinking finally somebody clocked the guy. But Thomas, what was his name? Thomas fucking Taylor was so close to these guys, Hernandez and Veron. Hernandez pivoted and almost tripped on Thomas Taylor's foot. And I remember looking at Thomas Taylor sort of laughing, almost like he was happy, like, hey, another chance for me to be on camera. There we go. I'm telling you, man, this dude is I don't want to be too critical, but it's just, he tries to be way too involved, like Joe said. A little bit too much.
I didn't realize. Yeah,
but fuck that. Be critical.
But yeah, my friend who trains, he kept pointing that out all night. I wasn't catching it as much. But he's like, yeah, the referee keeps getting in the fucking way. What the fuck?
See, when casuals start seeing it, when casuals start seeing it too, that's when you go, yep, and they don't know, much.
No, this is my friend who
you said he trains. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't picking up on it exactly.
Well, there you go, because you're a casual. But no, I'm kidding. But I wanted to say shout out to Jacques Cousteau. Shout out to Jacques Cousteau for his contribution with the super chat. Shout out to Jacques, and he says, shout out to Thomas Taylor's hairpiece. Okay, come on. See now, I'm judging I'm judging him based on his refereeing, not his appearance. But shout out to Jacques Cousteau. He says, shout out to Thomas Taylor's hairpiece. Fuck Canelo. Fuck the Haney's. Shout out to Zoo, Cepeda, and Teo paying everyone's bills. Not for nothing, but but Teo's fighting everybody. He does deserve some commendation for giving these guys some payday. So shout out to Jacques Cousteau for his contribution to the super chat, and I wholeheartedly agree. Out with the old, in with the new. That's what I say. And the entertaining, not some of these guys who have been holding up boxing.
Man, before we get away from Mercanti, I just want to always brush on the the Yuri Foreman fight. How what an amazing performance that was for Mercanti.
Oh, explain to people what you're talking about. Yeah.
It was so Yuri Foreman's fucking knee was going out. It was a big fight at Madison Square Garden against Cotto. And Arthur McCanty felt all good about himself, refereeing the big fight. And Yuri Foreman's knee is giving out. He could barely stand up. He's like, hey, listen, champ, I'm not going to let you go out like that. I'm letting you fight. All right, I'm giving you 5 minutes. Suck it up. Like, he started being like a little bit of a coach to one of the fighters. And then Yuri goes out there. He's fighting. Knee buckles. He goes down, and fucking McKenty goes, shit.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Shit. and can you believe there were actually some people back then praising him for that? He took control. I think even the HBO commentators like, he took control of the fights. Nah, man. It's not the referee's job to decide how the fighter loses. I don't want to see you go out like that. That was bizarre, man. That was bizarre. And then some people, I mean, again, it wasn't fashionable to do so even back then, but I remember some people saying, well, is it because they share a certain religion that Mercanti Jr. was giving that to?
I am tired of being a scared Jew.
I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know what's going on, what was going on back then, but yeah, it was weird, man. We haven't seen Arthur McCanty Jr. that much. I know he's more of a New York referee, but even in the New York course, I don't recall seeing him all that much either. Maybe I'm wrong. And if we haven't seen him a lot, that's good, because usually we're not supposed to see the referees that much. That means they're doing a good job. So maybe he's finally improved. The other thing I wanted to mention here was, okay, so we're talking about, and I didn't even know this, but Frank told us that Lopez apparently said he wants to take a year off, or at least till the summer of 2027, before he fights again. This is the big problem with a lot of these guys, inactivity. They're not practicing, plying their trade. They're staying, they get paid handsomely, so they just go, oh yeah, I can, putz around for a year. I mean, that's what Shakur Stevenson's doing. He hasn't fought since January. Meanwhile, the guy he beat already fought. Same thing with Devin Haney. He hasn't fought. The guy he beat in November has already fought. Benavidez, who fought on that same card, already fought, and he's about to fight again against that Polish dude. So this inactivity is really quite something, let me tell you. And so Steve Kim was on Twitter and he said that really boxing nowadays, it's night and day because, I mean, he grew up watching boxing in the 80s and then covered it all throughout the 90s and 2000s and beyond. And so he clearly sees a demarcation of the lowering of standards. And so somebody asked him, well, what's the difference? And it's interesting because he said this. He says, he made a bunch of points, but the first point is what I want to focus on. He says, they don't always sharpen the skills fully. It's just perpetual ring rust every fight nowadays. That is a great way of saying it in a succinct fashion. Perpetual rust. That's what we're seeing from these guys now. Because, and I pointed that out a couple of months ago in my long-winded way that I was looking at some of the guys in these PBC cards last year, by the way, 2025. Some of these dudes, I was looking at a card that they had. I think it was Kelly Plant and somebody else, blah, blah, blah. How many was it? It was about 5 guys out of the 7 guys on that card, or of the 8 guys, hadn't fought in over a year. And it was a pay-per-view, by the way. So you're paying to watch guys shake off the rust, as he says, perpetual rust. And I'm thinking, man, that's one of the reasons boxing is not advancing. Another little preview here about Chief and I when we're going to do a historical show. We're going to talk about Sugar Ray Seals, former gold medalist, one of the forgotten gold medalists of the USA. At one point, he fought every month from April all the way to the end of the year. And this wasn't in the beginning of his career, mind you, where he's fighting 4-rounders, blah, 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 just to stay sharp and learn the trade. No, that was when he was an established boxer, fighting 10, 12-rounders every month. Now, of course, that might be too much because that's how some of these guys end up burning out. And Sugar Ray Seals ended up suffering from a detached retina. I think 2 detached retinas. But the point remains, there has to be a sweet spot. There can be a balance. And this, what we're seeing, is the other side of the spectrum. They're not fighting enough. So when we do see them fight, and then on top of that, we got to pay for it, we're not watching these guys at their best. Guys, something has to change, and I'm afraid that it's not going to change. This is insane. The second point he made, what else did he say? He says, without more consistent exposure, you have fighters who the general public really doesn't know. Well, that's what we were saying, right? At the beginning of the show. It was on top of it being a desultory fight, I think the most desultory thing than that was the attendance. They had to shut off the lights on the upper decks, and there was a little bit of light shining on top, and you could see that it was half empty up there. So these guys, but then again, these guys get paid beaucoup bucks. So they think, well, yeah, I can afford to just stay idle for 6 months. What's going to happen? I'm getting paid. They don't understand the long-term ramifications of what's going on in boxing right now. And it's driving me insane that for years it's been going on, and people they like to bicker on Twitter about my guy said this, your guy said that. This guy is racist. Guys, he said something racist. It's fucking idiots, man, let me tell you. And it's interesting because another thing that Steve Kim posted earlier in the week, there was a guy in the New York Times that they were doing an interview with him. He's a sports journalist, and he was talking about how the LA Lakers, the team, obviously the basketball team, are overvalued. And he said he was questioning whether a lot of these sports teams are bubbles, financial bubbles that don't really generate much and don't really bring as much as what they say on the stock market and all that, right? And I said, you know what? That's a little similar to what we've been saying about boxers. For example, Devin Haney, he signed an exclusive deal with DAZN, just like Teofimo Lopez did, mind you. But a lot of people made a big deal about it with Devin Haney, not so much with Teofimo Lopez. And by the way, they haven't even said how much Haney's getting, so something tells me it's not that much. But even if it's not as much as they like to pretend it is, I'm pretty sure it's still more than he's worth. Because this guy, let's look, again, somebody could say, well, BD, what do you know about business? Granted, I don't know much. But I can't help but question the fact about how much the Haney really is worth. Because let's look at the facts. The guy doesn't generate that well either in viewership, pay-per-view buys, whenever he's fought on pay-per-view, or in attendance. And this is another dude that, look at him, he hasn't fought since November. So what is he really generating? I know that the Haneys are probably going to try to paint it as, well, he doesn't fight often, and that's what makes it even bigger, that every time he fights, it's almost like a big event. No, it's not. All right? No, it's not. Especially if you're going to fight a guy like Power or Jack Catterall. If it's not in England, it's not going to be an event, let me tell you. And so I wonder, how much are they paying Haney, and is he being overvalued? Is he just another bubble? And I suspect a lot of boxers are like this, overpriced bubbles. But the problem is right now, you got Zuffa TKO trying to grab certain fighters, and you got all these other promoters panicking. They're saying, well, we don't want Zuffa to get him, so we're just going to pay a lot as well. We're going to try to outbid Zuffa. And meanwhile, some of these boxers are cashing in, but they're not worth that money. You know, some people said that apparently Haney was worth $6 million per fight, and I'm not gonna deny that it's $6 million that he per fight, that's what his deal is. But I'm gonna question. In other words, I'm gonna revise it. Okay, so I'm not a denier. I'm a revisionist.
Cut the crap and stop desecrating the memory of our 6 million. 6 million.
I mean, listen, I'm just saying. I think we should. Is it legal, Bucho, for me to revise those figures from Devin Haney?
Yes, it's illegal.
All right, my legal counsel is telling me
6 million.
Okay, my legal counsel is telling me, yeah, I can question that. But guys, what do you think about that? We saw a desultory performance from both guys yesterday. We got inactivity. We got inactivity from a bunch of other guys who are also boring. Is boxing going down the drain even more so? I mean, is it finally ready to go completely down the drain?
It could. It could. I mean, we have Ryan Garcia fighting Conor Bennett's the next big fight, I believe.
Yes.
I mean, Aitama is fighting. But he's not at that level yet. But let's throw in Aitama. Aitama and Ryan Garcia, I think, can be exciting boxers. I know Ryan Garcia put on a terrible, boring performance against Rolly Romero, but he put on an exciting performance in his last fight against Barrios. So I'm going to consider Ryan Garcia an exciting fighter overall. So my point is this. There's hope. There's always hope.
No, I mean, listen. In terms of... Well, go ahead, Frank.
Why did you just laugh in his face when he said that?
Well, because he
doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it.
No, you know why I laughed? Because
Judo said he's hope on
you're not a believer.
You know why I laughed? Because he reiterated. I laughed because he reiterated it there at the end, and that's how I know he doesn't believe it. That's why I was laughing.
Yeah, I know. No, but I mean, listen, there is hope, man. Like, because what can I tell you? Like, I don't know their fucking future. And yes, of course, we've had these type of boring boxers pop up since Mayweather fucking retired.
Well, can I say something about
more
that?
And more.
I don't think the problem is in the talent, because we have talent. We have Bam, we have Espinosa, we have Jaron Ennis, we have Benavides. Those guys they put on good fight. Like you said, Aitama. I mean, this dude, hopefully he puts on a show Saturday. I think a lot of us are expecting him to do so. So again, the problem is not talent. We have talent. The problem is that these guys aren't fighting enough. The problem is that the referees, the judges, the commissioners are not applying the rules. The problem is there's a lot of uneducated boxing fans out there.
There's a lot of problems.
There's a lot of problems, exactly. So that's
you
what
were
I'm
asking about the boringness of the fight. I mean, that is a big fucking problem. Now, is it gonna take boxing down with it? I don't know. I don't think it will ever do that.
No, but Bucho, it's not just about promoting the entertaining fighters. It's everything I was mentioning about the inactivity of these guys. If they're not fighting enough, we're not gonna get the best. Like I was talking about Sugar Ray Seals, he had to fight a lot because back in those days it was a highly competitive market. All these guys were fighting. There were more TV dates. So if people wanted to get those shots, they had to be good.
We were talking about earlier. Yeah, I always mentioned I use Golovkin as an example. Why was he popular? Well, because he was an exciting boxer. He was knocking his opponents out. He was fighting 3 times a year. He didn't even speak English. His English wasn't that great, but it didn't matter because at the end of the day, what matters is what happens in the ring, and. Again, he was doing it consistently. That's it. You don't need it. You don't need some sort of like magic potion or something.
Obviously, no, Bucho, but that's the thing that it seems like they don't want to change this whole thing of inactivity anymore. And the fact that there's even less networks now showing boxing, that's a big
they're being
problem.
enabled. Who's enabling them to do this?
I think it's
nobody's.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, in one sense, the boxers being overpaid and then pushing for more. I mean, look at all these people. Look at all these people supporting all the enemies of Zuffa just because they don't want Zuffa to succeed, and they got like, yeah, boxers should be getting paid more. It's like, no, that's why yesterday's fight was on pay-per-view, dum-dums, because these guys are getting paid way too much. That's money that they don't deserve. I mean,
and they're getting away with stinking out the joint.
Absolutely, it's like you know what?
There's no repercussions. There's no nothing. Like Rolly doesn't even care about like the fact that he fought in a boring way. Neither does Teofimo Lopez. They don't care. Why would they even care? Who's gonna fucking tell them? Listen. You stunk out the joint, you do that again, I mean, there's going to be repercussions. No.
That's why...
You know, they can even get away. They can get away with it until Teofimo Lopez actually starts... You know what he says after the fight? Doesn't even apologize for the boring performance. He's like, I think I'm going to take a long layoff. Like, I deserve it. You know,
it's the,
you know what I mean? Like,
you know what it is? It's like going to a restaurant, the food is bad, and then on top of that, the waiter farts in your face and says, I'm going to take a year layoff.
Right.
That's what it says. It's the same thing here. Guys,
that's what it is. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at you.
They're laughing. Yeah, exactly. They're laughing at all of you guys. People think, oh, these guys are complaining. Well, you should be complaining too. They're laughing at you. You guys out there. Now, the weapon that boxing fans have, by the way, stealing the fights. That's why all the boxing.
That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, that's what's gonna bring down boxing too, because now you got these fights that are overpriced. People aren't gonna pay for them because they're overpriced. So they're gonna watch them. Shoot me the link, bro, and then the whole thing goes down.
It's go down, or maybe it's good that it goes down to a certain extent.
Yeah,
because it's gonna put pressure on boxers because then there's gonna be enough money, right? So these boxers are gonna have to understand, like, listen, I need to get. They're gonna have to pay me less now. They have to get a pay cut. Because there's not enough money going around. Why isn't there not money around? Because people are not buying the pay-per-views. Why are they buying the pay-per-views? Because you guys are sticking out the joint. And you're not fighting enough. You're not fighting often.
It's a great point, man. It's a great point. I mean, again, it's a whole bunch of...
Maybe we need this. We need to drag it down a little bit.
But now, but going back to it in the terms of talent, what I'm saying is the inactivity and the lack of TV dates, that's the big problem. Because that's going to... I was saying that we have talent now. I don't know if we're going to have that same talent 10, 15 years from now. Because these guys are so inactive. And I mean, look at some of these young guns now. Guys like Oshaki Foss, like Keyshawn Davis and like even Lomachenko and Josh Taylor, all those guys that came out of the woodwork 14 years ago, they got to world championships. I mean, if you want to call them world championships, in their 10th or 9th fights. That's the template now. It's like, well, just get them out there in the 9th, 10th fights. And they're able to do it because the talent pool is getting shallower. And so now they're doing it. And it's not like back in the day, you needed to have at least 20 fights before you finally were a contender and could go for one of these paper titles. At least 20 fights. Now it's 10 fights. So, and then, like I said, they're fighting twice a year. So we're not getting the best out of these guys, I don't think. And it seems as if it's not going to get any better because back in the day, oh, hey, man, you want to stay active? Well, let's say you fought 5-6 times in a year. 3 of those fights, if you were lucky, maybe were televised. Wednesday night fights, Tuesday night. People forget there were Wednesday night fights way back in the day. Tuesday night fights, you had the ABC's Wide World of Sports, and then in the 70s, HBO came around. You had a lot of chances to fight. And even if you didn't fight on TV, there was still a little something called local boxing back in the day, where old school promoters knew how to make money in TV, in local shows that weren't televised. But they were new enough, and there was enough demand to watch some of these hometown heroes that they could make money. So yeah, you could fight on those cards. Now we don't have that. We don't have that.
No, because boxing is not even that popular anymore. So I guess there's not that much demand for even local type of shows.
I'll tell you, you know what? I was at, and in my area, there's like a little fucking, kind of like a hood boxing promotion that's going on. It's pretty ignorant, but it's boxing. And they have a ring sometimes. Sometimes they do it with the street cones and the yellow tape. And there's some, it's pretty, I went to one of them, man, and I was, on edge the whole night, ready to fucking be out if I had to, because I didn't know if somebody was going to pull a gun at any point. There were a couple fights that got a little bit wacky. There was like a couple girl fights, and one of the girls was like, "Bitch, you got something in your gloves," and they had a big fucking brawl over it. And the bouncer grabbed one of the bitches and threw her the fuck out by the hair.
What the fuck? How much were the popcorn and hot dogs over there?
I didn't fucking have any of the food. I paid. My boy fought, so I paid my fucking $5-10.
Should have snuck in some snacks, man. Some Doritos, a couple of candy bars. You can do that.
Yeah. I think we snuck off to the gas station, but
what do you mean? You think? Did you or didn't you? That's what I'm asking. I want you to be direct here.
I believe we did, because
we
snuck off to grab some beers, and then I was at the gas station, got some chips.
Because that's how they get you, is what I'm saying. They get you in the concession stands. Everything's overpriced. That's why when I sneak into I don't go to the movie theater. I haven't gone to the movie theater in 12 years, by the way. But when I used to, you bet your keister I would sneak in my backpack and a whole bunch of snacks in there. Sometimes I didn't even bring a snack. A backpack. This was my snack of choice, watching a movie. Look at that. It still is, by the way.
Oh, God.
Look at that. You're laughing, but you haven't tried it yet, so can't really laugh too much. The joke's on you because you haven't tried it. But
that's biohazard. That's biohazard.
Well,
listen. Oh man,
I
could feel you pulling. I could feel you pulling in a direction, BD. I was like, "Where's he going with this? He wants to talk about snacks."
Yeah, Lavolicio knows me. Lavolicio knows me a little too well, but. Yeah, listen, that's my that was the gist of the complaints about it. There's a lot of things wrong with boxing, and right now the talent is still there to make a comeback. Again, Bucho said, well, boxing lost popularity, and again, I reiterate what I've been saying for months now. Boxing didn't lose popularity because the product got diluted necessarily. It's because it got shown and hidden rather on cable TV, Showtime, HBO. So that's one of the main reasons.
Well, I mean, there's still fans. There's still the hardcore fans. But one of the worst things I notice is the people that are fans of the certain fighters, whether it's the Tank fans or Shakur fans. It's really hard to have a conversation about boxing. But the main thing for me as a boxing fan, I always look forward was to be able to tell people if I went to the barber shop or the gym or just friends that I knew was we'd get together to watch a fight. And even those people, they don't even talk about it anymore. It's like, how do you get new fans? Who can you say, hey, come watch this fight? I mean, I think Canelo and Billy could be one of those fights where it's going to be guaranteed action. But I can't really look at the calendar and tell anybody. I mean, I could tell them Moises Hatama and Hergovich, but they're going to be like, those are UK guys. You know, they might not be as interested. So who can you really look at that you can guarantee a fighter that you can guarantee is going to get the people what they want? Benavidez, but we don't even know what he's going to do. Bam. That's where it comes to the inactivity. If they were at least 3 or 4 times a year, you can get new fans because you can say, hey, come watch Bam, come watch David. And the people that are happy about Devin Haney, because you're talking about Devin Haney making $6 million, like there's people that are happy about that. They brag about that. But as far as what the fighters make, they brag about it, but he makes $6 million. Is that the cost always goes to the consumer? I mean, it's passed on to the consumer.
Exactly.
So yeah, he's making it, but you're paying for it. You literally are. We are paying for it.
BDA, can I say something? The reason why boxing is at the state right now, and the reason why so many people left, is because of the consistent bullshit that continuously goes on with boxing, with the bullshit with the judging, the fighters ducking each other, not fighting each other, and people are just sick and tired of it, man. Like in the bullshit with the weight bullies, bro. Before in the 80s, and I think up to like the mid 90s, the weigh-in was the day of the fight. Now you get guys like, that's why Teofimo had such success in the beginning of his career, because he was a weight bully, bro. When he fought Lomo, he was at least 20 pounds heavier by the time of the fight. And that's why boxing's lost its popularity, is because of the bullshit with the promoters not working together. The judging is, people were just tired to be like, fuck this. This is all bullshit. It's all staged. And that's why people left. And that's why the UFC was able to fill that void.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean,
and that's the reason why I got frustrated with it.
The guys I was watching with last night, man, like, for example, that fucking Utria getting that fucking win over Mercado, that just fucking stunk the joint out early. People were like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, urethra against Mercado. Yeah. I didn't watch that one either, but I heard about that. And
dude, that sucked. Like, early on, we're all sitting there bullshitting, like we're kind of watching the fight out the corner of our eye, and then like now, like it's starting to gain a little steam, a little more consequence. Now we're watching Mercado. We're all getting behind him. Like, no one was like a fucking big fan of his before. We're like, yeah, fuck yeah, he's starting to. He had some tricks and shit too. He was crafty. But then by the end of it, I'm like, good fucking performance. They fucking give it to the fucking other guy. Like,
well, it's also interesting because they were. I think it was yesterday, right? Unless I'm losing my memory here, but they started panning on the crowd, and they said all the stars are here, and they showed the boxing guys that showed up. BJ Flores, one of the Vargas brothers. I think it was the one with the curly hair that was fighting the other brother in a hotel lobby.
Yeah, there were two of them.
Yeah, and then they showed Nico Ali Walsh. I said, okay, come on, those are the boxing stars. I mean, they were really reaching there. I think. I don't know. I was gonna make a joke there, but look, it's boxing's in dire straits. Another guy that was pointing that out was Rick Glazier, who he had a bit of a rough week last week, getting into it with Lou DiBella and Caleb Plant. Okay, what's going on? Somebody please
who's the TikTok?
Oh shit! I'm fiddling with
Put
something
them
weird.
the
My
anal
bad.
beats.
I gotta mute. My
put
bad.
the anal beats back in the drawer. But yeah, so Rick Glacier had this to say. He said, "Please read this. As it's about the future of boxing." Now, listen. When Rick Glacier's asking you, pleading with you to read something, that's when you know he's being serious. He said, I saw Paulie Malignaggi talking about boxing not being mainstream any longer, and Paulie said that in 15 years, boxing may disappear altogether. It's interesting how a lot of these guys are already catching up to now to all the problems in boxing.
You just realize this or
Yeah.
what? Like,
Boxing isn't mainstream any longer. I mean, Steve Kim was saying it. I remember the first time he showed up here. I think I want to say during the pandemic. That was 6 years ago. He was saying all of this. But I don't know. Steve Kim, some people in comment sections. Anyway, Rick Glacier says boxing isn't mainstream any longer because it's on apps. But as society adapts to using apps, then more people will start watching boxing again. I have no issue paying for apps. That's the way of the world. But paying for apps and still have to buy pay-per-view on an app like DAZN is absolutely killer for many. That's definitely a problem. Well, there you go. I mean, of course, yeah. You're asking people to pay for DAZN boxing, and these fights that are on pay-per-view, like the one yesterday, shouldn't have been pay-per-view. That's the problem with this ultimate package.
DAZN premium. What is this? Some premium? Or what the fuck they call it?
Yeah,
Get DAZN premium.
They got some drunk. I don't know who that is, man. Anyway, Rick Glacier,
$500. Yeah.
he continues, this is a huge problem with the industry, which translates to a huge problem for those who want to be boxing fans, but the cost is prohibitive for many to be a boxing fan. It's what I call a double paywall. That's exactly what it is, man. It's like when you're trying to bang a girl and she's got, not only does she have underwear on that you finally are able to get off, then she's got a chastity belt or something. If you were old school like me back in the day. I mean, you got to get through that. You got to pickpocket, you got to lock. I mean, no. And it's the same thing
And
here.
you still gotta wear a condom.
Exactly. On top of that, that's a triple paywall for me. Because you got to pay for that, but actually quadruple wall because you got to pay for the girl as well, in my case. But he says it's imperative for boxing's future and the future of the DAZN boxing. Anyway, long story short, you get the gist. Yeah, boxing, all these promoters are under one umbrella in DAZN, but half of it is on pay-per-view now. And it fights that shouldn't be on pay-per-view on top of that. It's what makes it worse. And by the way, you mentioned Triple G, Bucho. Interesting too. When he didn't have a fight, I remember 2016, that was the worst year for him and Canelo, because there were, that whole thing of going there with holding up the fight. Golovkin had bad fights. He fought that dude. Remember that dude that had he was training in pictures you saw that he was wearing an ankle monitoring bracelet. I forget what they call that in law enforcement. And remember that guy? Anyway, and he beat that guy, and then he had to get a welterweight to move up to fight him at the end of the year. But at least he stayed active. Some of these dudes, look at Devin Haney. I don't want to fight these guys. They don't want to fight me. They don't want to fight. Nobody wants to. You can't find somebody to fight. Yeah, we're gonna shit on you
Yeah,
if you fight a mediocre guy. But you still have to be active. But these guys, again, they get paid so much for fights that aren't worth it.
They're overpaid.
They're overpaid, so they can just stay inactive.
Somebody might say, "Well, that doesn't exist if the market decides." No, there's intervention here. You know what I mean? Like, there's money that shouldn't be coming in and being splashed around like crazy. And yeah, there is right now, but it's not gonna be forever.
Exactly.
Once it ends, the market, the price is gonna correct itself, and they're gonna be paid what they should be getting paid.
Again, I had to.
Right now, yeah.
Sorry to keep interrupting because I thought you were done. But just to add to what you're saying is that that's why I harken back to this whole thing about, look, right now, like you said, specific examples, it's Zuffa and DAZN trying to outbid each other. That's why some of these guys are getting paid. That's why some of this cash is splashing onto them, the overspray. But it's not like you said. That's a great way of putting it. The market is going to readjust itself at some point. And that's why UFC. That's why it works in a sense, because these guys are getting paid old school. Like what box? I mentioned Eddie Perkins earlier. Eddie Perkins didn't come close to touching $1 million for a payday. And in fact, he says, I don't know if he's exaggerating, but he says if he combined all of his purses throughout his career, he didn't come close to touching $1 million. And in a way, that's the opposite of the pendulum. I mean, the pendulum swung the other way back then because some of these dudes should have gotten paid more because he was traveling. I mean, in terms of effort, he should have been getting paid more. Yeah, there's not that much film of Eddie Perkins, so I don't know how entertaining he was. Maybe he wasn't entertaining. That's why they weren't paying him that much. But the point is, now it's the opposite. Now you got guys that shouldn't be getting paid that much, and they're fighting way less than a guy like Eddie Perkins. So something's going to have to change. Whereas in the UFC, these guys are getting paid what, 60 grand, 120 grand? I don't know. But they're getting paid more. They're getting paid more than some of these. Again, for every Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson that's getting paid $6 million per fight now, there's 40 more than that, hundreds of boxers who are getting paid peanuts for that. So boxing is all out of whack. The system's all out of whack. Something's gonna give at some point. And people and like right now, all these people are realizing what Sitkin was saying for years. All of a sudden, these people that are only realizing that suddenly, they're the ones that are also going to be lost when that happens. Go, oh my God, how do we get to this point? It's everything that we're talking about. The lack of enforcement of the rules, the lack of same-day weigh-ins, the weight bullies, gaming the system, guys being inactive, not enough TV dates out there, guys not getting active enough because, they just want to fight on TV. It's all of that.
Promoting the wrong fighters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man.
Promoting the wrong fighters, man. Promoting boring-ass fighters.
We'd be talking about, like, you guys are talking about, like, do you think boxing is going to come to an end soon? Like, like there's going to be a definitive event that causes the end of boxing, like 9/11 almost. Like, or like, like the, the end of the Mortal Kombat movie, the first one, where they're like, everybody's happy. They killed Shang Tsung, but then like the tower explodes.
Oh, yeah,
and it's
Shao Kahn.
Giant. Like, it's going to be some awful robbery decision. Everyone's going to be laughing. And then like, I don't know, some building's gonna explode and like
what are you talking about, man?
Don King is gonna be there. Like,
yeah, there won't be a fix that. Like, there's not gonna be some announcement. Oh, boxing is dead. We're closing shop. Like
you
the
let
beginning
boxing
of the
get
end
too corrupt, and this is
the beginning
over.
of the end was when they stopped with the Olympics. When they stopped boxing in the Olympics, that you could say that could be the beginning of the end.
Well, another beginning of the end was when they put the computerized scoring, which ended up making it even worse. And that's interesting because historians, for example, with the fall of Rome, historians have always been trying to delineate and demarcate a specific point in which, but most serious historians know that there's no one point from one day to the next. Okay, now was the fall of Rome. It's it's a gradual thing. Some people even argue that even during Augustus's reign, which is considered one of the golden eras of Rome, he was already on the decline because it was just one pocket of success that they had back then. But that wasn't indicative of all the other things that were crumbling. And it's the same thing with...
I got something to tell you guys.
All right,
Don't worry about it. Everything is going to be fine because we like violence. As humans, we like violence, whether it's MMA, boxing, whatever. Because we like violence, life is boring sometimes. You need to have violence to make it entertaining, you know what I mean? And because of that, it will always exist. If somebody's going to be like, oh, I need to do some money laundering. I have these billions. On the side. I need to do some laundry. If you know what I mean? Money laundering.
Oh, my God.
And then, I need to, let's just put some money onto boxing and pretend I'm making the money off of boxing or MMA or whatever. It always going to be that guy, that Mr. Billionaire, Mr. Moneybags, comes over and does all that shit for boxing or whatever sport you like. That's violence based or power slam.
It's so funny that this is fucking. I realized that it was Gypsy saying this at first. I was like, "Is this some mobster?" It's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Boxing's gonna be all right."
No, but can I say something? Let me say something about to Gypsy's point. To Gypsy's point, you're right about that, and I misspoke. See, I was focusing too much on when I was talking about the end of the fall of Rome, so people immediately jump on the end. I'm not saying boxing is going to end anytime soon. I'm not worried about it ceasing to completely exist anytime soon. Because you're right, Gypsy. There's always going to be... Yeah, as long as there's... Look, boxing, that's the other thing. It's a global sport. You got boxing in the whole of the UK. You got the Republic of Ireland. You got Germany. You got Russia. You got all this Central Asia. Anyway, the list goes on and on of all these countries that are producing boxing. So yeah, it's not going to completely disappear from one day to the next. However, you look back at the lack of activity. Back when the guys in the 40s used to fight every other week, to fast forward to the 80s when they're still being active, 5, maybe 6 times a year, certain fighters, but you started seeing the top fighters weren't that active anymore. Fast forward to the 2000s, it's normal now to have the top guys fighting only 3 times a year. Now to the point now where take a look at a guy like Inoue or Canelo. Oh, he fought 3 times in a year. That's the big deal. That's the consensus now has been reached. That's the benchmark now. If you're fighting 3 times a year, you're active. You see how gradually things change. It's a slow boil, and people don't realize it until it's too late. The changing of the 15 rounders to 12 rounders, the changing from same day weigh-ins to the day before weigh-ins, and then 36 hours. So now that these guys can pack on even more weight and become more pronounced weight bullies. It's everything starts changing little by bit until eventually, boxing is going to continue to exist, but it's going to be such a diluted product. That's the main worry. Not that it's going to cease to completely exist, but it's going to cease to exist in the way we know it.
That's only to the blame of the prima donnas being born, the new generation.
I agree.
That's all it is. I mean, that's not. It's just that life is becoming easier, so they want everything easier. That's how it is. That's all that is at the end of the day. But there could always be a change. It's not like it'll always be like that. If they have proper promotion of boxing, how it's not promote this as not a necessarily a violent sport, but something you can learn from in life. And if you can do that, you can get kids involved into it, and then you have
Well, the next video that I'm about to show is quite apropos about what we're talking about, because it really breaks things down about that. Some of these fighters, they have a warped sense of their worth and of what a fight is actually worth. Check this. I think it's really going to illuminate a lot of people. That's not it. Hold on. It's Gary. Okay, let me give you the context. Let me give you the context for people that might not remember. We talked about this a few weeks ago, or actually months ago. Gary Anton Russell has repeatedly talked about how he doesn't want to fight Shakur Stevenson. Remember, he said that after Russell beat Hiraoka, I think it was earlier this year, he said, well, I don't want to fight Shakur Stevenson yet because, he's earned it and I haven't.
I'm not worthy.
Something like, yeah, essentially that's what he was saying. So then he came back a couple of weeks ago and said something different. I forget what it was. And now he's finally trying to show fans that he's a little bit more willing to fight him, but it's still not completely on point here. Check out what he has to say.
A couple fights, he's looking forward to move on now. He mentioned that he wouldn't mind, scrapping with you and that you were the talented fighter. What are your thoughts on you potentially being Shakur Stevenson's next fight?
I'll take it, of course. But to those who out there who said I was scared of Shakur Stevenson, that is not the case. Shakur came out and told y'all herself, he ain't scared. We sparred multiple times already.
I'm not scared because I sparred him. See, again, that's the problem with a lot of these modern fighters. We spar. They take sparring as if it was an actual fight. I beat you in sparring. Nobody beats anybody in sparring.
Who is that? Who's that?
It's Gary Antoine Russell.
Oh, well, I think he's scared.
When was this video taken? Because like last night, his hair looked like shit. Now he's got braids.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think he's scared to actually fight him. He's scared of losing to him.
Well, listen to what he has to say. So he's saying, I'm not scared of him. I sparred him.
Multiple times already. Honestly, he said, word for word, I'm the only opponent that bring the best out of him. These are his words. So I was saying that I wouldn't fight him now because at the end of the day, this is show business. Of course, y'all love the show side, but there is a business side to this as well.
So now he's very adamant about what he's saying. He sounds really committed to it. It's like, oh, he must really believe it. And by the way, I appreciate Gary Antoine Russell's style. I think we need more fighters like him. But in this scenario, he's right that he's, at least in the ring, he's trying to show you that it's show business. He's trying to show us something. But I think he's overrating the market quality of that Shakur Stevenson fight. Let's keep hearing.
The show side, but there is a business side to this as well. And Shakur right now, he getting in his bag. He getting the best of both worlds, He's hella talented, giving great shows, and he's coherent of the business side. He's getting his dollar.
He's putting on great shows, he said. Must have missed all those great shows that he's putting on.
So the fights don't make sense. It don't make sense. And right now, I feel like it would be a premature thing to fight him right now.
So there you go. There it is. It's premature to fight him right now. Guys, Gary Anton Russell is 30 years old. So when is it going to be the right time? When he's 31, 32?
They're all in on it.
When he's 40, he'll be fully grown.
Hold on. Let Louis go.
40.
Let Louis go. Let Louis go. I want to hear this.
It's a big fight. They're all fucking in on it, dude. Because the whole Shakur, I don't know if he's fucking running it, but he's all calling shots. Oh, I'm gonna have this belt, then I'm gonna drop it, then Keyshawn have it, then I'm gonna move up. Like, I'm not gonna fight you yet. I'm gonna fight. Like, he's openly shot calling so much. They're all working together, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, Antoine is
okay, that makes no sense. Antonia.
It's not the A to it. That's it. Antoine.
Apollonia.
You feminize it. Yeah. And he's not gonna. I mean, he ain't nothing special to be. I mean, his older brother or whatever, he was Russell was actually
Russell Jr.
Yeah, he was actually good. To me, he's not that special.
This guy's good. This guy, yeah. Anyway,
he's all right, but the thing is, though, I mean, look, man, Shakur. I know they're bringing it up because T.O. I picked T.O. to beat fucking Rolly, and it was an obvious fucking pick, and even Bucho. chose that path.
Whoa,
as well.
even Bucho, like he's
even
supposed to.
even Bucho.
I don't know. I didn't say even like as in a derogatory way or whatever, the
That's what
wrong
it sounded
way.
like.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no. It just meant like Bucho picked him as well. And the thing is, what I'm trying to say is like a lot of people thought that Rolly's gonna knock this dude out. No, the Rolly's far below in class than Tio is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that just because Tio got outclassed by Shakur, that doesn't mean that Shakur is, oh my God, he's the greatest shit ever. It's styles make fights, and the style that Shakur brought over Tio was just the wrong one for Tio. But if Shakur fights someone else that has a lot of output, got a good chin, got good skills, he like he did with Zepeda. Zepeda was not the one, but Zepeda got close enough. Someone else would dismantle him. There's always going to be a guy. He's acting like, oh, he beat this guy. Bro, you got beat by Edwin Del Santos. Okay, everybody knows it. Stop thinking that you're all kind of some kind of great shit. You ain't. You got to keep winning until you prove that you are the greatest shit ever since sliced bread. That's how that works. But anyways, yeah, Tio is still Tio. Tio hasn't really. I didn't see any improvement from Tio. Tio's the same guy. Maybe he should start putting some more volume into his punches, because if he does, then he'll start knocking out people at 147. That's his issue. And that's about it.
Didn't we go off topic here? What was the topic?
The topic was
Mr. BDA,
Anton Shakur.
I think you got to go over, by the way, Mr. BDA, to Tiafimo's gym, man, because all those 15-year-old kids that were in the intro, shadow boxing, I think they could take you, man.
First of all, you're throwing down the gauntlet. These 15-year-olds, they get all snappy. They think, hey, man, look at this old man. I'm not that old, by the way. And they think they can take me. And then they find out the hard way. And then they start crying to their parents. Their parents come in, hey, you beat up my son. Like, I'll beat your ass too. What's up? But listen, I mean, somebody's got to teach him right from wrong.
That's not even 15-year-olds. Those are like 10-year-olds, man.
Well, they look pretty tough to me, man. I'm gonna tell you. But I'll say this. No, but look, what Revolucion was saying about it's true. Like a lot of people notice that Revolucion, particularly on Twitter, how they call, who was it? Oshaki Foster, who's not part of that group. He called him the Avengers, right? He's the one that coined it. Because Shakur Stevens is always like, hey, I'm going to fight Lamont Roach. My friend. And then somebody asked him, like, how many fucking friends you got? And he's calling the shots like, well, then I'm going to fight Hitchens, and he's going to win my title that I gave him. And then when he wins, we're going to go out for ice cream. Like, they're making plans already.
They all made a big fucking, it's like they all got a big fucking work schedule. They just all like wrote out like, okay, well, in May, that's my turn. I'm going to get my check.
That's why they're building all those data centers and stuff like that,
They don't like black on black crime, bro. That's all it is. Black on black crime.
Goddamn fucking King Von, man. When King Von had those guys get killed in Chicago and he bought everybody chains, that's the same vibe. Shakur's like, all right, everybody, hey, this is going to be your fight with me. Then you're going to get your fight with me. Everybody's got a fucking whole little career path planned out, dude. I'm telling you.
What happened with that? What's that guy's name? The guy that's the below weight divisions, the skinny cat, Mr. Cold, Ice Cold. What is his name? Ice Water.
Shaggy Foster.
Shaggy Foster, yeah. What happened with Shaggy Foster? Him gonna get a fight.
He might fight Navarrete.
Oh, that's right. He's fighting Navarrete. Yeah.
Oh no! I mean, I don't know. Is that already signed?
I think it is. Yeah. By the way, JumpTube in the chat says he in his bag. I need to start saying that. Yeah, that's. I'm picking up a lot of these new timey expressions now. Let me tell you, he in the bag. But let's just re-listen to that. That's Gary Antoine Russell saying he definitely wants to wait because it makes sense to make it wait.
So the fights don't make sense. It don't make sense. And right now, I feel like it would be a premature thing to fight him right now because the dollars. It wouldn't make sense.
Would make sense. I mean, you're fighting one of the guys that everybody in the mainstream media is sucking off as the best fighter in the world. Supposedly, Zuffa is going to be willing to pay anybody that can give him a tough fight. Why don't you want to fight him? What happens? Look, this guy already lost, by the way. He forgets. He already lost to Puello. Was on his way to losing to Francis Barthélemy until the PBC. I don't know what it is with the PBC saving these young guys from their old fighters when they're giving their fights. Rolly Romero against Barroso, this guy against Francis Barthélemy. The referees really love to help out the PBC fighters. But anyway, he's already almost lost against Barthélemy. And he thinks, again, these guys think everything's going to go according to plan. Man, Life is what happens when you're busy planning it.
This is a thing. It's like, if he's going to sit around thinking he's going to marinate this fight and try to build this fight up, it's never going to happen. Right? It's like, instead, he should have this fucking fight, beat him. The next fight, he's going to fucking have a bigger draw.
Right.
You know, there's no waiting around for this. It's like, yo, go out, kill Shakur, make your name, and then you got something to build off of. You don't got, okay, well, every single move, I got to build up to the most. You don't have a fucking name right now.
He's 30 years old, man. He's 30.
And you were boring last night. Sorry. That was
you're conflating. What were you saying? You're conflating that because this guy didn't fight last night. You're talking about his smaller brother, the Gary Antonio Russell.
Antonio.
Wait, that was wait. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that was Gary Antonio.
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday. Yes,
that's a third. So that's a third one.
There's three: Gary Russell Jr., Gary Antoine Russell, and Gary Antonio Russell.
It's like George Foreman, right?
That's why I was like, why does his hair look different?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't understand what you were. I thought you were making fun of the hair. I said, come on, we're not gonna go there. But
that motherfucker need to cut his hair, bro. Get braids or something. It just looks. I'm not talking.
What's the point of naming all three sons Gary? Like what?
It's like George Foreman.
Russell 1, Russell 2, Russell 3. That's how we could identify him. It's better. It's easier.
That's why I'm gonna reveal my real name here for the first time ever on BDA. It's monumental. That's why I named all my children, including my females, my daughters, Uberto. They're all named Uberto.
Oh my god, my females, my daughters. What is it? This is a pedo conversation right now.
How they did? How we could have done it was just with just different placements, placements of apostrophes. Gary,
Garay, yeah, Garay.
Put the different apostrophes.
Yeah, but
Gary
look,
Antonio.
I like watching
Nicholas, Nicole,
Gary Lantonio.
Yeah, that's a classic one. There you go. Yeah, that sounds like something that you would actually see in inner city Los Angeles. But look, I like Gary Antoine. Now I'm getting confused. I like Gary Antoine Rosso. I like how he fights. The Hiroka fight could have, some people could have gone either way. But look, to me, Gary Antoine Russell is old school. Whether he wins or loses, I want to see him fight. And yeah, that Shakur Stevenson fight wouldn't be that bad because, look, we saw what Cepeda did to Stevenson. Now, Gary Antoine Russell doesn't seem to be as good a body puncher as Cepeda, but he's got the faster hands, and he's just as active, if not more so, than Cepeda. So that would be a very good fight to watch.
Somewhat big.
He's somewhat big, yeah.
140, he looks solid.
But he doesn't want it. He wants to let it marinate. And hey, look, I remember.
Talk about yesterday's.
We already talked about this. No, hold on.
Oh, damn, okay, then fuck it. All right.
Caleb Plant versus. Yeah, what did you think? We just started the show and started talking about fucking Gary Antoine Russell. But
yeah, I thought so.
What type of a show do you think we run here? Caleb Plant versus Benavides. I remember when some people they were. I think it was Caleb Plant wanted the fight in 2020 or 2021. And fucking Benavides' manager, promoter, whatever, Lukowitz, who he really has a history of sabotaging fights. I don't understand why people haven't seen that yet. He's the guy that said didn't want the fight. And I remember some people thereafter, I'm talking 2022, 2023, they were saying like, well, no, that shouldn't, they got to let it marinate. That's why he said no, because they want to let it marinate. Well, the fight ended up happening in 2023. And what happened? Bombed at the pay-per-view box office. It bombed. They marinated, let it marinate for 2 years. It didn't get any better. Or if it did get any better, not by any substantial margins. So what is Gary Antoine Russell gunning for here? He's already fighting once a year. He wants to wait. Why? We're going to see him in 6 months from now. He's going to be inactive for another year. By the time he finally marinates the fight against Shakur Stevenson, he's going to be 32, and it ain't going to be nearly as marinated as he thinks it is, as it's going to be. So, I don't know. These dudes, I don't know what type of representation he has.
Maybe he's looking for a good couple of wins, but then you have to actually fight somebody that's worthy of talking about, and then you're like, oh, see, my name is Gary Antoine right here. I'm all ready.
Oh, but would you say he already reached his ceiling in terms of before a championship fight, like before, like he can't grow anymore. Now he's at the point where he has to fight a Shakur Stevenson.
Guys,
he has 2 more fights. He won't change anything.
Let me tell you let me show you why he's never going to be that, because his schedule is not likely to change anytime soon. He fought. Look at his schedule since 2023. He fought Kent Cruz in August of 2023. Almost a year layoff before he returned in 2024 to take on Puello, a fight which he lost. GG, maybe the inactivity had something to do with that. Almost another, well, not nearly a year layoff, but so against Puello was June 2024, all the way to March 2025. So over a 6-month layoff, all right? Half a year layoff, over a half a month, a year layoff. Takes on Jose Valenzuela, wins that decision. That's 2025. Then 11 months before he finally shows up again against Andy Hiroka, and that was his last fight. We're in August now. It's been 6 months since his last fight.
That's what I'm saying. What else can he do before he fights Shakur Stevenson? There's nothing else he can do.
You know what, Bucho? Do you think he thinks that one win against a top 140 pounder that's what's gonna shoot him over the moon?
Who? Matias? Is he still around? Or
no, but I'm asking. Do you think that's what he thinks? Do you think that's what he believes? That hey, one win and that's all, man.
No,
one big win.
It's not one.
Hold on. I mentioned he could fight Matias, but like, would he fight Matias? Maybe not, because it's a risk. So he's like thinking, oh, I'm close to the Shakur fight, but at the same time, I don't want to fight anybody else that's gonna be a risk. I don't want to fight anybody that could derail that fight. So that he's trapped. You have to take that. Yeah,
exactly. That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Time will tell whether if he's offered a good fight, we'll see if he takes it. But 140 pounds.
What if it's a risk? Oh, well then, no, he's I might not get that Shakur fight if I lose. So. What the fuck is he gonna do?
No, you're right, man. You're absolutely right. And 140 pounds right now, the super lightweight division it's loaded with dangerous fights. You got Tito Mercado just entered the fray in the Ring Magazine rankings, number 10. That dude's a big puncher. He's got good hand speed. Unproven as of yet, but nevertheless, he would still be a risk against a guy like Russell. Matias is still there. Yes, go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying it has to be just different eras because I'm trying to think. And what do you guys think of the era with what was it, Bam, Mike Alvarado, when these guys were having their wars? And there was Lamont Peterson, he was in the mix. They were fighting each other. It's just different mentalities, right? Eras. Those guys, they were just always fighting. Miracom, Maidana, 140. I think Victor Ortiz was in that mix. These guys were all just banging it out, and these guys, they just don't have that mentality. I don't think they want to.
Frank, it's also the type of people I mean, like even the older brother, Gary Russell, he also fought like once every year too. Like I think it's a thing that they're just following their older brother's footsteps. They're doing the same
no,
shit.
because it's about Gary talking about Shakur, and these guys are. I mean, I guess you could call them more skilled than like Bam Bam Rios was or Mike Alvarado. Guys like Lamont Peterson. I mean, I don't know if they were ever pound for pound or elite guys, but we were getting good fights with all those guys. Amir Khan, Maidana.
To your point, I'm looking at the rankings here. I'm looking at the lightweight rankings from about the summer of 2011. So not that long ago, if you really... it's been a while, obviously over a decade, but how things change in close to a generation. You got the lightweight rankings, right? So Juan Manuel Marquez was the Ring Magazine champion. Brandon Rios was the number one guy below Juan Manuel Marquez. He fought Miguel Acosta, who was rated number 5. He would later go on to fight John Murray, if I'm correct, who was rated number 6. And he fought Urbano Antillon, who was rated number 8. So he fought 3 guys. He went on to fight 3 top lightweights. You got Michael Katsidis, number 3 back then, who ended up fighting Robert Guerrero not that long thereafter, who was rated number 10. So all these top guys were fighting each other. It was not... yes, we had seen by this point, I think by this point we already seen the infamous Lopez versus Gamboa marinated saga that, I think they wanted to marinate. I think it was... Bob Arum actually said that, right? I think he actually used the term marinate the fight, and then it never happened because Lopez ended up losing. But so we're already seeing those type of hijinks. Obviously, it was, 2011 is modern day boxing for me. But at least, like you said, Frank, that's a great example here. You're looking at these top lightweights that were fighting each other. Now, well, if the money's right, we got to get that bag. We got to let it marinate. He my friend. He my brother. Came up to the trenches.
We're promoting losers, man. That's what it is. We're promoting losers. That's the problem.
It's the boxing conversation, too, because these guys want to say they're the best. Antoine Russell or Shakur, they're all protecting these records or, I'm the best. But a guy like Bam Bam Rios, was he pound for pound? Was he elite? Nah, but he just got in there and fought. Like he would give all these guys a run for their money. I mean, whether win, lose, or draw, but you could throw them in there. And then eventually that could lead you because he eventually, Bam Bam eventually got a Manny Pacquiao fight. So he wasn't sitting waiting for the fight. I mean, he got to a point where he just fought so much they just threw him against Pacquiao and he gets paid out. But I don't give a shit about that pound for pound or he's number one in the ring. If they're just gonna sit there and pick and choose like they're talking.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point, man. And you know why earlier, I think it was Joe who told me, no, BDA, you got to criticize. The reason why I'm reticent to criticize is because, first of all, if I'm going to criticize someone, it's only after I've put some thought into it. I don't just, I try to avoid doing off the cuff criticism, because then that can go wrong and, people tend to take it the wrong way. So you owe them the just out of respect to, if you're going to criticize somebody negatively, you got to put some thought into it first so that you really fleshed out the argument. So that's why I'm sort of reticent to criticize boxing, because I went at it with some people, not went at it, but I saw the debates between people who grew up watching boxing in the 50s and 60s, and they were oftentimes, that's all they were doing. They were complaining about, these guys from the 90s, they couldn't hold a candle to. That always rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, hey man, you're depreciating some of these guys that are actually pretty good. And then now, fast forward 30 years later, some of these guys from the 90s, they are legends of their own. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that the guys who were the old guys, they did have a point. There were less fights. Some of these dudes weren't as tough as the guys from the 40s and 50s, and it's even so more pronounced now. So what I'm saying is I try to avoid criticizing, but are we wrong with the criticism? That's the main...
It's also because we promote fucking losers. I mean, yesterday they tried to rob Tio and have Rolly, the loser, go up front. They robbed the Argentinian, Vernon, whatever his name is, against Hernandez. Hernandez got his ass beat.
Whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, I don't think Hernandez won that fight against the Argentinian. The black dude, that was a Cuban guy.
Oh, you didn't think he won?
Well, before we get to all of that, Gypsy, did your doppelganger Food TV? Who did he have winning? Who did he pick to win between Romero and Lopez?
He had Rolly, of course.
No, because I heard about that. I just wanted to confirm if that was.
I never said it because I'm not gonna shove it up his fucking where. I'm not homo like he is, but that thing is.
Wait a minute.
I'm joking. He's a good guy. He's a good fella. The thing is, he chose Rolly. I chose.
And did he?
Yeah.
Did he disagree with the decision or?
He no, he didn't.
There you go. Okay, so
somebody was saying that he had Rolly Romero winning the fight. Okay.
Did he? Oh my god!
That's what somebody said.
He got to get slapped.
Somebody wrote he had him winning during the fight. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe his last the way he scored at the end wasn't for Rolly. So I don't know.
If he picked Rolly winning that fight, then I mean he needs to get slapped, bro. That's just as ridiculous, bro. Come on. He only won 2 rounds. Rolly only won 2 fucking rounds.
Yeah, I had him. Yeah, I only gave him 2 rounds. I have my scorecard here still.
He ran away because he got clipped with some shots. He didn't like it, especially the body shots. He was having difficulty breathing, and there was one shot in I forgot it was a 6th or 7th where he got hit with a shovel hook from the lead hand of Tio, and that really rocked him. He was and he was lucky that was near the end of that round because he was doing huffing and puffing. He was. You would hear that. You would see it, not hear it, but you would see his fucking his facial expressions just huffing and puffing. He's like, dude, he was worried about getting killed. And we talk about Tio's power is overrated. Tio's got power, man. I think he's very reserved, man. I think he fights very, very reserved.
Yes,
that's his
issue. I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
At some point, but see, it can go both ways, because at some point I do think his power was overrated by some people. They were trying to make it out of if he touches you because of the Comey result more than anything. But look, I do still think he's got respectable power, especially if he sits down on it. But like you said, he's very reserved. He likes to throw flashy shots as opposed to really sitting down on them and letting them fly.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Vernon, I think Vernon beat fucking Hernandez. I wasn't impressed by what Hernandez. I think it was not like a one-sided beatdown, no, but it was close. But he edged it out by 1 or 2 rounds. And, they had to make it look like Hernandez won, the Cuban won, and all that kind of stuff. That's why the Argentinian was all happy and moving around.
See, that's why I don't like about Gypsy. He gives you one good take, and then he completely at 180 and just gives you the most bizarre take.
You don't like Argentinians, I get it, but I'm just saying that dude fucking won that.
No, you're the Messi fan. You're the Messi fan. You're the Argentina fan. I'm not. Don't try to turn it on me.
I was watching the fight, and I've heard of this Hernandez dude many times. and I wasn't impressed. And he was getting back. He got a volume punched. That's what happened to him. He volume punched the crap out of him, and they were expecting Hernandez to KO this dude. Well, guess what? He was missing most of his punches, and when he did land, it wasn't really phasing this dude much because he kept to his discipline, and he was jabbing his face, moving to the side, pop shotting him with a left hook here and there, and then even get crossing him, shooting a crossover when he had his high guard. Bunch of fucking shit. He just kept him busy, and then he also rocked his ass in the middle of the fucking fight.
According to CompuBox, let's see what CompuBox has to say. According to CompuBox, Veron landed 105 out of 809 punches. Hernandez landed 200 out of 649. So, like I said, Veron gave him. You know why I think you may say that, Gypsy? You tell me what you think. I think you're giving Veron a lot of credit because he let his hands go. And I think that's why one of the judges too, because I've often said it. If you're a puncher, if you're a boxer out there, everybody, amateur, professional, whatever, let your hands go. Even if you're not landing cleanly, you're gonna give yourself the benefit of the doubt with one of the judges. I think that's what may have happened, Gypsy, and I think you got swayed by that, by the activity.
But the thing is, though, he landed a lot more than what's it's on the list. I would like if I had to guesstimate. I have to guesstimate how many punches he landed. It would probably be the fight, maybe 350 or somewhere on that area. He landed a lot of punches on that dude. It's just that he didn't put a lot of sting behind it. He just threw it, and whether it was around the guard, or whatever, it touched it. That dude. He probably threw 350, landed about 250 or something like that, because you can't land every single shot. Some of them were hitting gloves and stuff. So, but he outlanded this dude. I know that for a fact. Near the end is where Hernandez took over. Hernandez started to land more than him, but in the beginning of the fight, he was outlanding Hernandez.
Well,
I think he won that, bro. Like that's why he was so confident. That's why he felt like he definitely won it. And the thing, Hernandez's side didn't look like they felt like they won it. They didn't act like, oh man, we won it, raising their hands. That dude, as soon as the bell rang, he's like fucking raising his hands and shit. And Hernandez, it took him like a minute, and then it took a minute before
See, that's why a lot of these dudes, they do like what Frank Bay said, the old school tricks. A lot of these. That's why you see a lot of these guys when the bell ends, when the bell rings, the final bell, they immediately start celebrating because that's from the amateurs. They tell them, hey, you gotta show the judges that you think you. What's that?
You said bell ends?
No, I didn't say bell ends. I said when the bell. Yeah, he thought it was. See, that's the thing. Fucking Revolution watches too much PBS where they show these British shows from the 1970s, like Monty Python and all that. So he's a bell end. But look,
Tony Bellend.
Tony Bellend. Yeah. All right, like Gypsy would turn it Antonia Bellend. That's what he would call him. Antonia. That's
Antonia. I haven't came up with a name yet. What I do with Tony Bellend.
What did you? I don't know what you. Andre and Muratata. Andrade. It's like fucking this guy's insane, man. Anyway, listen, we gotta go. We said it all. I'm glad we got Gypsy's take on Romero Lopez before we go, guys. Don't despair. We got boxing coming up from the UK. Gotta love these UK shows, man. They really bring up the joy. They bring out the joy out of a boxing fan. We got UK boxing next week. Unfortunately, it's pay-per-view, but at least that one should deliver a little bit more, I would suppose and assume, than the one we had yesterday. Mo Saitama is going to be taking on Filip Hrgovic. Hey, that's going to be a good. Sam Noakes is going to be on the undercard, so it's not all bad. At least they're giving you a guy who's action-packed. Then again, Hernandez was supposed to be action-packed too yesterday, and he couldn't really deliver. But anyway, the point is, it can't be all that bad. So it's going to be interesting. Also, then later on at night, unfortunately, you got to pay for this too now. See, you got to pay for everything. But Pro Box, you got to pay $5 now. But Lester Martinez is going to be taking on Luka Plantic, who's a big puncher. You also got all the big Pro Box stars, by the way. All they're missing is Nico Ali Walsh. They got Naji Lopez also on the undercard, taking on Juan Carrillo and Ramon Cardenas. Butch, I always forget, Cardenas or Cardenas? No, it's Cardenas, right? Like Cadenas?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, because there's no accent. Cardenas versus Carrillo, so it should be good. That's an interesting little card right there for $5. It's a hot little card, as I like to say. I know people hate it when I say it, but it's the truth. It's a hot little package. What?
Cardenas. There's no accent.
Hot little package.
There you go. So everybody check out. We got boxing next Saturday, and it keeps on going, I believe, later on in September. So we got a lot to talk about. Stay tuned for that. I want to big a big shout out. Thanks to Revolution for jumping in, Gypsy, Frank Bay. That's Boxing with Frank Bay. Everybody go check it out. I think he did a show on Thursday, I believe. Pretty entertaining show, if you ask me. I think it was even better because I was on. I don't know. Maybe that had something to do with it.
Oh yeah. You were that guy. You were that guy.
You already forgot. That's how forgettable I am. But
no, we covered it all.
I believe we did, right? I think we covered a lot of bases. King Butcher as well. Yes, go ahead, Gypsy. One last thing.
I can't wait for the Conor Ben fight. With
All right. Gypsy, you're the new Pete.
My prediction for
you're
that.
the new Pete. That's what Pete always used to do, and Gonzalo too. As soon as we're about to go, hey, can I just mention one last thing? No, we're going to go.
That's all I got to say. I'm not saying anything else. I said I can't wait for that fucking fight. That's all I'm saying. I can't wait for this week on Moses as well. Moses and what's his name? Ergovich.
There you go. Well, I think it's going to be a good one. So I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Tu Matador, Pancho Villa, King Bucho, keeping an eye on things in there. SJW, Windy City Mex, Olua Segun. I think he's been here before. I think shout out to him. Tu Matador, King KO, Mohammed, Hart, Bruce Lee, Pancho Villa, Sean Rain was here, Palokua. Who else do we have? Grim Reaper, Jump Tube, Starboy, Raphael, one of the initiatives. Shout out to Raphael. Bill the Boxer, Bill the Butcher, as I like to. He's got the photograph right there. Impala. Who else do we have here? Dwayne Styles. Listen, guys, if I forget anybody, it's because Baron Evola as well. Shout out to him. Round one. Let me ace. Let me bang, bro. And if I forget anybody else, it's because we gotta go, guys. Thanks again for watching. Shout out to Jacques Cousteau, by the way, too, for donating via the super chat. Really appreciate it. He's just
del desierto, el vento me despeina.
Shout out to Thomas Taylor. He says herpes. Fuck Canelo. He said fuck the Haney. Shout out to Zoo, Cepeda, and Teo paying everyone's bills. So there you go. Shout out to Jacques Cousteau for his contribution with the super chat. And if I forgot anybody, it's because we gotta go. But shout out to you.